what's going on. You've been away for far too long. You can't come back, think you are still mine. You're out of touch, my baby, my old-fashioned baby. I said, baby, 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 you're out of time. Well, baby, 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 you're out of time. I said, baby, 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 you're out of time. Yes, you are, baby. Yes, you are. I said, you're out of there without a doubt. 'Cause baby, 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 you're out of time. You thought you was a clever girl, giving up your social world. You can't come back, be the first in line. Oh yeah, you're obsolete, my baby, my poor favorite baby. I said, baby, 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 you're out of time. Well, baby, 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 you're out of time. I said, baby, 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 you're out of time. Yes, you are, now. Yes, you are. I said, you're out of there without a doubt. 'Cause baby, 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 you're out of
Is it all coming out? I can't go and check because so I guess right.
Some kind of fool. What I do, what I did, stupid fish, I drank the pool. I've been doing some dying, now I'm doing some trying. Just say you don't mind, let me off this night. When cleaning to a scene where my dreams were getting bad. Who rides with the tide and who's glad with what he has? I've been doing some whining, now I'm doing some finding. Say you don't mind, let me off this time. Suffered inside. Say you don't mind. bad that a doormat sees better times. That's bad. It's a sign to get back and think up some better lines. I've been doing some growing, and I'm scared of you going. So say you don't mind, you don't mind. Let me up this time. Let me up this time.
Understand that I've been waiting for a long, long time. Think everything's gonna turn out fine. Hey, hey, it's alright. Hey, hey, it's alright. Hey, hey, my, my, my. Hey, hey, yeah, girl, treat me kind. And girl, I think you're fine. But no one can love you better than me. Close your eyes and I think you'll see. Hey, hey, it's alright. Hey, hey, my, my, my. Hey, hey, come on, children. Hey, hey, my, my. When I think of what I missed, it makes me laugh inside. All the girls that I ain't kissed just to keep my pride. Yeah, 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 yeah. So girl, look around, and girl, see what we've found. We've found something we can't fight. Don't think twice, it'll be alright now. Hey, hey, it's alright. Hey, hey, my, 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 yeah. Hey, hey, it's alright. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, it's alright. Hey, 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 yeah, it's alright. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, it's alright. Hey, hey, ooh, it's alright. Hey, hey, yeah, it's alright. Hey, come on, shake your hand. Hey, hey, I promise that. Hey, yeah, hey, it's alright. Hey, you know what I mean? It's alright when I say alright, alright, alright. Hey, alright, alright.
You better take it easy, baby, before you go away. You did me dirty, but you had yours one day. You better talk about you now. You better
Over bridge of sighs, to rest my eyes in shades of green, under dreaming spires, to Ichiku Park, that's where I've been. What did you do there? I got high. What did you feel there? When I cried. Why the tears there? Tell you why. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. I feel inclined to blow my mind, get hung up, beat the ducks with the fun. They all come out to groove about, be nice and have fun in the sun. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'd like to go there now with you. We can miss our school. Why go to learn the words of fools? What do we do there? We'll get high. We'll touch the sky. Tell you why. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. Inclined to blow my mind, get hung up because of the fun. They all come out to groove about, be nice and have fun in the sun. It's all too beautiful. 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 It's all too beautiful.
Right. It's exactly the same. Your camera's exactly the same as how I feel this evening, Andy. It's warm. It's it takes us all a little while to get going in this heat, and especially in my studio this evening, it's like a furnace in here. But good evening, everybody. It's really well. Good evening, everyone. We hope you're all right. Are you all right, Andy? Apart from your camera woes? Yeah, you seem all right at the moment. You seem all right. Yeah, so you may or may not have noticed, for those who regularly tune in, you've just got our pretty faces tonight, as poor old Gemma, who's usually with us, has got a work engagement. So it's good. It's good. It's good. It's not good for us. Not good for you because you'd stuck with us too. But yeah, we'll press on. So what have we got coming up tonight? We are joined by. We've got lots coming up tonight. Well, as we should mention, tonight's show is a purely 60s theme. So basically anything from the 60s goes. We've got the usual things coming up. We've got the Mob Master quiz, which is 60s theme. We have got an interview with Carol Harrison, who puts on the Small Faces All or Nothing musical, and she's coming on to talk about that, to talk about the fashion, to talk about various things. And we've got now a good friend of Mod Shoes, Elliot Easton of the Cars, who's joining us in a new feature for us, our pub chat, which is coming which is coming in the second half of the show. No, you never would have guessed, would you? I mean, there's only so many of these that you can drink when you're at home. Believe me, me and Andy have tried to work out how many that is. As per usual, we are, as you see, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. We will be monitoring the comments, so if you have any questions for any of the guests tonight, Carol or Elliot later on, any inquiries about sizes, stock.
You look all the time. You've not been able to hear me. I've just only turned my microphone on.
I can hear you.
Yeah, but they've not heard me.
They haven't. Oh, sorry. Sorry for those who couldn't hear Andy. I hope
That's good.
We try and keep it that way. Hopefully you can hear me. As we were saying, so any comments any questions for the guests, any inquiries about the Mod Shoes products, the stock, the sizing, any of that sort of stuff, as per usual, leave them in the comments. We will read them out, and we will do our best to any shout-outs that there are. So, without further ado, I think we've got an advert for your new the new shoes, which Elliot is
we have, mate. Yeah. We have. Yeah. Oh, I had graphics and everything lined up to when you were introducing what was coming up in the show, but.
Do you want to just put them on now anyway?
Yes, because if I don't do that, I'd have felt like. So there's the lovely Carol, and
Carol. That's Carol. You'll be seeing later.
Yep. And this is the bit that, hold on the screen, Luke, they're seeing the in-crowd graphic, which is a picture of Elliot in a pub that I'd actually like to be in talking to him.
Sadly, our pub chat from 9 p.m. tonight is remotely, but we'll make it look like we're in the pub.
Right, let's go back to me and you, and then we'll, So, me and Jason, who's one of our regulars, we had a bit of a chat earlier in the week about cord shoes. And he's been doing some digging around for us on various websites about the originality, where they came from and all that. So hopefully you'll find this interesting after a short commercial break. Say something and we're off. So, Jason, we're going to talk about cord shoes, and there's a good reason, because we've got two of them behind me, and I've got one of them there, and I've got another one down there.
I've got one of them here. There's one I
and these have been worn every time I've been doing the show recently. I've had these on. I've had these on my feet. So
fantastic. I can see why.
Oh, mate,
they're a good shoe for a radio. Is that the right thing to say?
Well, I think there's some truth in it. A shoe for radio. Just going off at a tangent. Whenever I do this, I always dress up smart, and I like to have all this to hand. I like to have them on my feet, and yeah. But anyway, you've been doing some digging about cord shoes, so Jason.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's funny how all this has come together, because we've been chatting in the background on and off about a little bit of this, and it sort of piqued our interest, and we've had conversations about, because we're all familiar with those fantastic small faces photo shoots of sort of mid 60s, where they're wearing these most wonderful cord shoes, or beautiful interlaced different colour basket weave shoes, fantastic stuff. And we both know that the Rolling Stones having similar shoes, the Beatles. So kind of where did that come from? So I spoke to a few people, obviously socially distanced, spoke to a few people, and it looks like they've surfaced around the sort of the late 50s, early 60s. Though interestingly enough, some of the original sort of modernists, as opposed to mods, which we'll get to in a minute, were saying they actually weren't really smart enough. It was more of a sort of beatniky wear, and they weren't really sought after. But then back at that time, the big shoes were Cuban-heeled, what we know as Beatle boots, Anello
and David ones, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a fantastic picture in the book by Paul Gorman called The Look, where there's literally a queue of them outside this shop.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah,
queuing up for these Chelsea boots, Beatle boots, basically Cuban heel things. So it's either that, or you had Stans of Bartholomew's who had outrageous winkle pickers. I mean, literally they were a yard long, And at that time, that was what the modernists were into. And I don't really see these on the feet of the mods. If you go to the mods books and you look through the history of it, until that sort of transition from modernists to mods.
Yeah.
And as you get to that, they're available. I think a lot of mods saw these as a nice alternative to the desert boot. When you look at that, that's a desert boot shape, but it's more, it's special. And as such, they were in shops like Ravel's, shoe shops, and obviously Toppers.
Yeah, I'm just showing a picture on the screen now of the Toppers. And I mean, David Dry talks about Toppers being very expensive, but I kind of had a thought about with them. Do you feel that perhaps, I always thought there was the original mod lot, which is like your Jeff Dexters and all of the Lloyd and all of that sort of guys, and I always think of them very suited. And then I start thinking about that kind of next bit which is matey who's got the fish, and he's at the Scene Club, and he's now living in Australia, whose name escapes me. But he was talking
Mickey
about
Tenner.
that's it, Mickey Tenner. But he talks about like Harringtons, and starting to wear
And if
casual.
you see him on Ready Steady Go, he's got
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cycling shoes. He's got all that, and that sort of appropriation is very much kind of a European influence is coming in.
Yes.
And I think, to me, as a classic photo, and you've got, and it's from the 60s, and it's from the sort of key mod period, Soho scene. A lot of these guys suited and booted on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it's all these guys in casual wear. One always goes, "Oh, look how smartly dressed they are on the left." But for me, the guys on the right have nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The epitome of mod for me is that sort of coolness becomes a natural state. It's sort of unforced. It's pure. It's natural, and they're just choosing the right casual, sort of relaxed continental clothes that. You know, they're not outdressing anyone. They're not peacocking it in that sense, like the early modernists probably were. They're actually a lot more subtle about it. It is a lot more kind of relaxed and continental.
Do you think, Jason?
That's why I think that bands like the Rolling Stones and the Small Faces, when you see all these wonderful things, actually follow on from the lead of the mods. I don't think that they will. Mods looked at the shoes of the Small Faces and the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, as we know, and thought, "Oh, I'm having those." I think it came the other way around, and they were available on the high street, top-end shops and what have you, across the land, from what I can glean from a few people. But these shoes were there on the feet of modernists, and I think they wore them because the Stones and certainly the Small Faces and that were fashionable people.
One of the things I thought about, we've been asked about, is different colours. And
Yes.
I mean, I've just thrown up a picture of George Harrison. Let me put it back up again. And George is wearing a pair of red ones. And it's a pic with him with Patty walking across the road. And he's got that massive psychedelic jacket on. And it's not mod. It's mod, is it? You know, it's fashion. It's what it is, you know.
And I think the Beatles sort of... They were the zeitgeist of so much at that time. They rode the absolute crest of all those sort of time periods in the 60s, you know. And Sergeant Pepper's era, where they were wearing these shoes in different colours. We spoke to a number of people about their remembrance, and most of them were saying, "Oh, I had this fantastic peacock blue pair," and this one guy said, "I had a lovely pair of red cord boots," and he sent me a picture of it with him and his scooter.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I should have saved that off. That's gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah. So I definitely think the colours came in, as did most things in life. I guess being fashionable as they were at that time, I think that is why by the late sort of 60s, early 70s, they were fading out. You know, other things came to the fore. Other items of clothing, I don't know if there was a glam influence, whether that's too early and bigger, chunkier boots.
I think you're probably right. I think these come in at several places. I suspect, for me, there's several touch points. One, they might have been expensive, but they allowed you to be different than having a desert boot. Two,
Absolutely.
They were casual, so you could probably wear that. You know, that's something you can wear down. You know, oh, look at this. You know, I've been wearing it and I've got the laces done up. But you can wear that with jeans. You can wear that with trousers. I think, I think it's what's adaptable.
Yeah, but you're also talking. This is from an era where suits were less prevalent in that sense.
Yes.
Fashion generally, whilst obviously the whole of the 60s, you know, you went out, you were suited and booted. But generally, the fashions were more relaxed then, and you probably could have worn shoes like this with your suit.
Like that?
Yes, they're the ones. But you would have worn those with your suit without qualm, because, you know, as you say, it covers a lot of bases.
Now, I need to keep this brief. So there's been a few people done them since. I've got to get a little bit of sales stuff in, because I am mod shoes and we are ultimately trying to sell something. Some people have done them, you said Hudson Chrome's in the 90s.
Yeah, Hudson Chrome, mid-90s. Obviously did a range with Paul Weller. This is Hudson shoes.
Yeah.
Their H for Hudson shoes, great range at the time. Remember them being really popular, and they did a fantastic range of shoes with Paul Weller.
They did some weaves, didn't they? They did weave ones as well.
Basket weave shoes.
Yeah.
They were fantastic, massively highly sought after. Mainly because these shoes, we've known them from Mod's Legend, from Small Faces Legend, these wonderful shoes, and yet no one was providing them unless you were fortunate enough to get vintage pairs, which
it's true.
Premium.
It's one of the reasons why Elliot rung me. Now, I know Elliot we got on later on the show, and I mean, he rang me. He said, the conversation was literally, I've been given your phone number by someone who says you may be able to get some Brian Jones shoes. Ideally, you might be able to do them in cord. And it was almost, I think there's a little bit of Terry Rawlins. He'd been going on and on and on at me for years to get them done. And so it was almost like somebody agrees with me. Why don't you ring him and tell him?
Excellent. I love old Terry. He's a good man.
Yeah,
he's
but
yeah, so I'm made up that you've done it again. I mean, I know that E&A Groove, Claudio, he does. He's done a few of those in the past as well. Obviously, beautiful shoes, an immensely stylish man, without a doubt.
Yes.
So everything he does is of that kind of high-end, slightly niche market, where you are paying for the privilege, whereas your current offerings, Andy, I think beautiful styling, beautifully made shoes, absolutely wonderful things at a really decent price point.
Well, that was the point, mate. I think it's difficult. There's so much. If you're going to do something like this, we're in a business at the end of the day, and so we want to sell quite a few. We don't want to sell just two. We can't afford, to sell two. It just doesn't work. But wrapping up, because I'm conscientious, me and you will wrap it all that evening. So we got the Elliot, we got the Dayton. We are going to be doing some more Daytons in different colours. The problem is getting the cord. Because there's a difference. These aren't like cord trousers. These are they're made different. So I think it's to do.
Yeah, but they're not just etched suede either, are they?
No.
These are proper things. They're not routed out.
Yeah, no, it's rolled. It's rolled. They flatten it. Yeah. So it looks a business. Right, let's get this wrapped up. Jason, thank you for that. That's good of you. Good man.
No, pleasure is entirely mine.
Well, we had a bit of a chat about with Jason there about cord shoes. Carol, you were saying you remember these?
I remember them. Yes, I am of that age to remember them.
I've been very careful how I phrase those questions because
have to. It's all out there. Everyone knows. I try.
You well, we've got a formal interview after Modmaster, which we're going to do in in a little while. But let's welcome Carol. Hello, Carol. Hello.
Hi, Carol.
Hello. Nice to see you all.
Yes.
All out there.
It's all a bit weird, isn't it?
Albeit virtually.
Well, all virtually, yeah. Well, I'm getting more used to this now. It's obviously live entertainment's gone for a burden a bit at the moment. So the more we can interact with people, the better. So I'm really happy to be part of all this, and also because Mod Shoes have been part of my life for a while. With what they provided for us, which was wonderful, for All or Nothing, all the wonderful girls' shoes that we begged them for more and more.
And it's lovely, and me and my wife, his mum, when we went to see, it was you're like, but they're our shoes, there's our shoes on a stage. It's kind of, it's it's kind of watch him play. It's like, there's Luke, but look, there's our shoes.
Well, my did that in the theatre as well. She'd end up talking the way through it and go, that's my Carol, that one there. Like, well, you're trying to, she's going, yeah, and I don't know why she's wearing that dress. Because I'd make a much nicer dress, isn't it? I'm playing a character. Oh, you shut up, So.
Yeah, I used to date a girl a bit like that in Stoke. We went to a comedy club and she didn't listen to one joke.
Was she cracking her own?
Yeah, she was.
There you go.
Right. Just one thing, just quickly, I wanted to say. Simon Parr made a comment on the video that we just showed. There was George Harrison wearing some cord shoes, and the jacket apparently, because you couldn't get those crazy things, was made from fabric for curtains. Literally. Yeah. And him and Jimi Hendrix used to do that, didn't they? Used to go to Harrods haberdashery department or something, I've heard. And
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of in the day, having to make your clothes because, one thing because you want things that are different, and you were always creating, and also because we never had the money, and then they weren't in the shops.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be really resourceful of where you actually got clothes from in the 60s. I remember there was only one place where in the East End we used to get Levi's, and that was like this army surplus store.
Is that the one you mentioned? Is that the one you mentioned that Steve mentions in the play? You say, "I know a man who can get you some Levi's."
He used to get. They used to get them from the U.S. Army bases before that. Before they were any army surplus stores. So they used to have to get them off the GIs.
Oh, right, okay. Right, yeah.
Then we were lucky enough to get some in the army surplus store, and you go up there for your buttonfly Levi's and, your 501, very particular, but you had to move around all over the place to actually find the things that you wanted and put together. And that's how the look came together, and a lot of girls, obviously, especially, made their own. And I was lucky enough because my mother was a tailoress. So I just give her a picture, and she didn't even cut out pattern, she just cut out the dress, and that was it. So as soon as something came, into a magazine, I'd have it,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They were made from, and we were very, very poor, so they were made from like remnants of the the mark
of the remnants. Yeah,
and sometimes they were curtain fabrics as well. Yeah, so
no, that's cool. That's cool. Now we need to get on. I love stories. As he knows, I will listen to all stories.
And we would love to hear them all night.
I'll tell you what we'll do. When we got our little formal interview after the Modmaster thing, which we're going to do in a few moments. But if you stay on with us after 9 o'clock, that's right. But when we've got Elliot on as well, and we'll have a good old prop there.
Our pub chat.
I guarantee I will be through 4 of those.
Of these.
Yeah. Right. What are we after, Luke? Are we into some?
Well, we were just going to mention.
Yes, mate. Sorry.
You saw Simon's comment there.
Yeah.
Down. Caroline, who's listening, mentioned that she was also shoe spotting when she went to watch the All or Nothing musical.
Yes.
So, and we've also
love them. Yeah.
That's what's going to be done. And also just a few of our regulars who are in. Tim Wilson's in. Jonathan Reeves is in. Rolo. A few. All the regulars are all in tonight. So.
Yeah, and we're streaming all over the world as you do at these modern times. So it's we're on YouTube now. We're on Twitch. I won't lie, I don't think one single person watched on Twitch yet, but we're on it.
It's more for gamers, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I just want to make sure it works. So, somebody will stumble across it in some place like Argentina, Anyway, sorry, Luke.
So you were going to very quickly talk to us about the new cord shoes in advance of Elliot coming on.
I've got some on me.
You meant me. I was going to say I don't know anything about the cord shows except for the original.
As I think everybody knows who've been watching the show, we've been doing these. The Elliot shoe boots. He was coming on to kind of advertise them basically and help talk about them, but they've all gone, and we've which is fab. I ordered literally this morning some more. I don't know how long they're going to be. 2 or 3 weeks, I hope.
Right, so we'll have my pair.
Well, Terry Rawlings, bless him, turned up today. He was so excited, and he's sitting outside at the office, socially distancing as you do these days, outside on a chair, trying them on, and he was like, "Shit, they don't fit."
We're pre-watershed.
Pre-watershed. Yeah, but they say much worse than this on Radio 4. They say the B word on Radio 4, I have you know. They bloody do. And I didn't mean that one either. let's.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I try and keep him professional.
Well, let's watch a couple of adverts, and then I think we should get on to Modmaster. Yeah?
Oh, my husband's watching it on Twitch, by the way. He's
Hurrah!
Thank you, Ian, not John.
he's the first. He wants some cool shoes for doing that. So I'm just helping him. We're just helping ourselves.
Right.
Right.
All the adverts, Andy.
Right. Let's have some adverts, and then we'll get on with Modmaster. Here we are.
And here we are, and we're ready to play this week's Modmaster, which this week is 1960s themed, and we are joined by Ross and Mike. So I must stop getting confused by the fact that it says Ross G and Dragon on on my screen. It's very confusing. For Ross and for Dragon / Mike, and for everybody playing at home, if you've not, if you haven't tuned in before, the rules for Modmaster: each contestant will have 10 questions. Question 1 worth 1 point, question 2 worth 2 points, and so on up until 10th question, which is worth 10 points. And the winner, basically with the highest score, will go through to our 3 and 15 round for the chance to win the free pair of mod shoes. We were a little bit underprepared earlier today. As we said, we're down to 2 tonight, so we haven't flipped a coin yet to see who's going to go first.
Yeah, I'm desperately trying to get the sound effects ready as well while we're here.
Oh, well, let's not worry so much. I can make them vocally. So Ross tuned in first, so we'll let him have the call of the coin toss, which Andy has got a coin there. Andy, show everybody that it's a real one.
Yeah, it's there. Look there. It's there. Yeah.
A whole 5p.
It's a modern 10p, Luke.
Okay, so flip that for us, please, Andy.
Heads.
Heads it is.
Heads. So Ross, would you like to go first or second?
I will go first, please.
You'd like to go first. So okay. So Ross, are you ready to play?
Yes.
Oh, Christ.
Stop doing it.
Oh, just.
Those who've never watched us before, we're usually more on the ball than this.
Oh,
For those
because
who have watched us before, shut up. Right, so Ross, are you ready for your questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question 1. Can't Explain was a hit for which band?
The Who.
Is correct.
Right.
Question 2. Jim Morrison was the lead singer of which controversial band?
The Doors.
Is correct. Question 3. Georgie Fame had 3 number 1s in the 60s. Can you name any one of them?
Get Away.
Yeah.
Is correct.
Do you know the other two?
Yeah. Not that they're
Yeah,
worth any
yeah.
bad boys. Yeah, is one. Any chance of the other one?
The other one's really bad.
No, go on.
Is it the Ballad of Bonnie
Ballad
and
of
Clyde?
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
So, question 4, Ross. How many number one, multiple choice this one by the way, how many number ones did the Beatles have in the 60s? Was it 14, 16 or 17?
14.
It was 17.
Ooh.
Question 5. Who sang the title track of the 60s James Bond film Thunderball?
I've got no idea. Guess
again?
Shirley Bassey.
It wasn't, it was Tom Jones.
No, didn't know that.
No.
Question 6. Which part of London are the Kinks from?
Muswell Hill.
Is correct. Question 7. Who was the female TV presenter and queen of the mods?
Kathy McGowan.
Is correct. Question 8. Which model was the face of 66?
Twiggy.
Is correct. Question 9. Who scored the 1966 US number one hit 96 Tears?
Oh. I know the Stranglers version, and I can't think.
5,
Oh, it's gone. I can't think of it.
2.
Question mark and Mysterians.
Nah.
Question 10.
Well,
And your final question. Which band were recording their first album at Abbey Road while the Beatles were recording Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
can you repeat that, please?
Which band were recording their their first album at Abbey Road while the Beatles were recording Sgt. Pepper's?
Don't know. Don't
It
know.
was Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
I make that 27 points for Ross.
I agree with that one. It's not bad, is it? That's all right.
That's a good
It was
score.
better than last time.
Yeah. There was no Trevors in this one.
There's a...
Right, so we are going to go to a very short advert break, as we like to call it, and then we'll be back with Dragon Stroke Mike's questions.
On your last trip, did you discover what the Earth people eat? They eat a great many of these. They peel them with their metal knives, boil them for 20 of their minutes. Then they smash them all to bits. They are clearly a most primitive people. For mash, get smash.
Hello, Willie. Say sausages. Come on.
Moles.
No. Sausages.
Moles.
Sausages.
Moles.
Sausage.
Thick, meaty sausages are pronounced walls.
You wouldn't say sausages.
Walls. Now you're talking sausages.
What are these?
Saws.
What are those?
Hedges. Saws. Hedges.
So what are these?
Walls.
No. Sausages. 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 Sausages.
Thick, meaty sausages are pronounced walls.
Walls. Now you're talking sausages.
So Ross's wife is watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in the background.
Modmaster isn't professional enough for Ross's wife.
Trouble is, she tried to keep coughing during the answers and got them wrong.
Right. Anyway, so Mike, are you ready for your set of questions?
Just give him the shoes, mate. It'll be all right.
We don't allow that sort of thing on Modmaster. We're in it till the end. And you never know. You never know. So are you ready for your questions?
As ever.
Okay. Question 1. What You Gonna Do About It was a hit for which band?
Four Faces.
Is correct. Question 2. Complete the Kinks song title. all day
And all of the night.
is correct. Question 3. Who is the lead singer of The Who?
Roger Daltrey.
Is correct. Question 4. How many, a multiple choice question, how many number ones did the Rolling Stones have in the 60s? Was it 8, 10 or 12?
8.
Is correct. Well done.
Ooh.
Question 5. Who sang the title track of the 1960s James Bond film From Russia with Love?
Bassey.
It wasn't. It was Matt Monroe.
Is Bassey like the question when they have Popmaster? They always say the Blow Monkeys.
Question 6, Mike. The Animals formed in which UK city?
Newcastle.
Is correct.
Oh, I was just about to hit the buzzer there.
Question 7. Which famous mod TV show went out live on a Friday evening in the mid-60s?
Ready, steady, go.
Is correct.
Ooh.
Question 8. Which 60s model dated both Mick Jagger and Steve Marriott?
Twiggy.
No.
It wasn't. It was Chrissy Shrimpton. Question 9. Name all 3 guitarists from the Yardbirds. Well, all 3 famous guitarists from the Yardbirds, should I say.
Pass. Wouldn't I've got the album up there. Can I get the album down and have a look?
No idea of a single one?
Nah.
Ross, any idea?
Clapton.
Clapton's one. And also Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. Finally, Mike, question 10. Who produced Thunderclap Newman's 1969 UK #1 hit, Something in the Air?
That's our question.
That's an easy question if you know it.
They're all easy.
Question if you know it.
They're all easy if you know it.
Any ideas, Mike?
Mick Jagger.
No, but it was worth a guess. It was Pete Townsend. So, Mike, that puts you on 23. So, very close today. Very close.
Well done.
But unfortunately for Mike, just not quite. But very good round nonetheless. So before we move on to Ross's...
Have you told him what his prize is?
I'm going to.
Okay. I'll shut up then, shall I?
I was about to say that nobody goes away empty-handed from Modmaster. Mike, you still go away with the £30 voucher to spend at modshoes.co.uk.
Excellent, thank you.
Is that okay for you? Is there any shout-outs you'd like to do before you leave us tonight?
Good luck to Ross. Just a couple of hard songs there, really, for me. But all the best for him, and keep the faith.
Good man.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So, Ross, you are through to the 3 in 15 round. Are you ready for it? So you've already won the £50 Mod Shoes voucher, but for the chance to turn that into a whole pair of shoes as opposed to just one. Are you ready for your 3 in 15?
Yep.
So, Ross, tonight we would like from you 3 singles from the Rolling Stones.
Paint It Black. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And Get Off My Cloud.
Hurrah!
Very good. Well done, Ross. That's 2 pairs of shoes we're about to give away in 2 weeks. Not being so good. Well done, Ross.
Yeah, we're going to have to make them harder next week.
Yeah, make them harder questions. So, Ross, any idea which pair of shoes you'll be choosing from the Mod Shoes category?
I like the new cord boots, so I might be getting them.
You'll be behind me in the queue, Ross, but yeah. That's a nice choice. Any shout-outs from you before before we?
Just the usual, the MCF refugees, and she won't be watching. But good luck to my daughter. She's shaving her head for charity on Saturday
really?
afternoon.
Oh,
yes.
Good luck. What's your daughter's name?
Paige.
Paige. Good luck, Paige. Well, she won't be watching, but if
she won't be. I'll show her.
Good luck. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you.
Good man. Look,
cheers, Ross. Well done. Well done to Ross and Mike tonight. And
Mike / Dragon, as you're always going to call him, it's always going to be known as.
I was professional during the quiz and called him just Mike. So we are going to run to a very short advert break, and then we're back for our proper interview with Carol.
All right, smashing. Here we go then.
They're one of the best bands of the 60s, without a doubt.
You know, you get Small Faces, Blur, Madness, Kinks. It was probably the best times ever.
A lot of American bands really wanted to have that energy that the Small Faces had.
You know, everyone loves that era of the mods. They used to look immaculate, the music was amazing, and it was a fantastic time.
We've had a standing ovation every night, and everyone's dancing and singing and going mad for it. And I always take a moment and step back and kind of go, wow.
You forget how great the Small Faces were, and it just, when the whole show was fantastic.
I had a big smile on my face the whole time. It was a great show. I'd go and see it.
Faultless, I mean, come on.
I'll tell everybody. I'll tell everybody.
Absolutely loved it. Fantastic show. The cast are fantastic. They work so hard. Brilliant. Love the music, love the show, love everything about it.
We've just had that. We've just had that. We were going so professional.
Oh, we are professional. So we're back with join with Carol now. How did you do in the Modmaster quiz, Carol?
Well, okay. The first one wasn't quite as good as the second. So in the first one, we got 37.
That's still very good.
Yeah.
That would have been the highest score we've had so far, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay. I said sitting in the park instead. Well, I said yeah. But the Bonnie and Clyde one, I said sitting in the park.
That's a good song, but yeah.
Wasn't number one, was it?
No.
Wasn't it? No.
It was a hit, but I don't think it was number one, was it?
Right. Okay. No.
Yeah. No. It's
Okay. So that was 37.
That's good.
I didn't get the Beatles one. I made it less, but the last one, okay, we got 55. 55.
That's really
single one.
Oh,
that's very good.
We should have had you in the quiz then. I think. Yeah.
That wouldn't be fair, would it? Especially for the first one, the Small Faces one. Oh, and yeah, but I have to say, yeah, because Ian got Pink Floyd. He said, "I think it's Pink Floyd." I went, "Oh no, they already had an album out by then." So I did get help.
No,
right,
apparently not.
That's fine. Still good. Still very good. So Andy, are you going to introduce Carol?
Yeah, I ought to do it formally. Where's my sheet? Where's my sheet? That's what I need. Now, look, let's do this properly. Let's introduce you formally. Where is it? Here it is. Here we are with Carol Harrison. She is an actor, because you can't allow her to say the other word nowadays. Writer and director. Carol has been in many films and TV shows and theatre. Yes, she has, including 5 series of Brushstrokes, the comedy Brushstrokes, which I remember, and that was funny. That was good. Anyway, sorry, stick on the track, Andrew. EastEnders, in EastEnders, you were Tiffany's mum, which is that was massive, obviously. There's another one which I really like. You're the mum in Human Traffic.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, mods.
that was at the bit where you catch Danny Dyer, but let's not get into the family show.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of the mod world, which is obviously what we're centering around today, she is of course known for the small musical, Small Faces, All or Nothing, and guess what? Mod Shoe supply some of the ladies' shoes for the thing, and so that's how come I know Carol, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, Carol, didn't you know Steve from an early age?
Yeah, I did. I was lucky enough to have met Steve when I was young. I mean, I was about 8.
Okay.
We come from the same part of the world in the East End of London, and my cousins were all mods, and they lived in Manor Park, and they were mates with Steve, and so he'd come round my house with my cousins and stuff. So that's when I first met him, when I was about 8 years old. Which was,
wow.
Oh, yeah.
But was he famous then? Was he famous then, or was he?
No, not then. He went on to. He was just about to go into. Hang on, let me think how old I am. He'd done Oliver, and he was back after that. So he was like he'd done Italia Conti. He was at Italia Conti and stuff around that time.
Yeah, well, that's where they got that's where they got their name, isn't it? Because apparently at a party, some of those girls from that school said about Steve and them all having small faces, and that's why they were called the Small Faces.
Well, he was a friend of. Actually, it wasn't. He was a friend of Jimmy Winston's. He was his girlfriend.
Sorry.
He was quite well to do, so yeah.
Right, because Kenny Jones, I asked him about that. But anyway, yeah. And
well, there's no stories about how things happened, but you know.
Oh
that's what I heard anyway. So
you get several people in the room, and they're all. You eventually get to the truth. Yeah. Is it? Go
I would think. Sorry,
he didn't really know him then when he was at Talia Conti. So it was later that the Small Faces came together.
So I mean, but that would still be quite cool, wouldn't it? You know, that's Oliver's pretty big. It was a massive thing, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, exactly. But he wasn't the star of and the lead singer of the Small Faces.
He wasn't the pin-up.
He was in. They had all different bands, and my cousin played in bands with them as well. And he was in a. I know he was in a band called the Moonlights as well, before the Small Faces. That was the band part of. So yeah.
All right, well, that's pretty cool. What we got here was it?
Well, I was just going to say that I was looking. You know, I love the Small Faces. Obviously, I wasn't around at the time, but they're one of my favourite bands to listen to, and I always think Steve Marriott looked like the absolute epitome of cool. Was he always that cool looking in the early days?
Well, yeah, I think he was. I mean, obviously I was a young girl as well, and to me he was like, you know, and they were all mods, and I just loved mods, and although I was much younger, you know, even then I was like wanted to be a mod. I used to watch Thank You Lucky Stars, but used to live for Friday night, you know, when Ready Steady Go was on, and so I loved the way they dressed, and you know, even before I was old enough, really, and he was the epitome of cool and mod, but he was kind of really a sort of electric character. He was just brilliant. You know, he walked into a room and he lit it up, and he sort of bounced off the walls, and so he was extraordinary in that sense, that he was so charismatic.
So, Luke, do you want the next question, or should I go for it?
No.
All I was going to say was it. So I want to get onto directing a bit later, what you think, Bob. But was it a natural thing to do something on the Small Faces? You was never going to do, I don't know, the Hollies, for argument's sake. Was it always? Would it have always been? No.
To me, I think it was a passion. It kind of wasn't always going to be about the Small Faces, though, funnily enough. I wanted to write about mod, you know, growing up in the 60s and being a mod, and that how amazing it was at that time, that whole magical time, that feeling of hope, and just a kind of like rites of passage, and how it was to be part of all of that. And how amazing the music was, and the fact that suddenly working class people were artists, and being recognised as artists in their own right, and you know, sort of the whole rebellion thing. And I wanted to do it about mods because the only thing that had been done about mods was Quadrophenia, which was amazing, but I wanted to do a proper stage show, and I wanted it to be live. And to me, the epitome of mod is the small faces, and as I knew him as well, and it's about the East End. I mean, the fact that it's about the East End is very important to me as well, because that's where they come from, that's where I come from. So it was very much about our culture and our language as well. And I wanted to celebrate that, the language and everything. So it became my passion that I wanted to do this thing.
No, I get it. I totally understand. Go on.
Very quickly, we have a question from the Facebook.
Yeah.
From Caroline Sheard, I think it is. Says, "Hi Carol, thank you for streaming the show. I sobbed all the way through and watched it 3 times in the weekend.
Oh.
I've seen it live twice and randomly bumped into Alex on Carnaby Street, although she lives in Devon. We hope to see everyone back in theatres soon, but please bring Aeon back on tour again, or any thoughts on releasing a DVD of the Ambassadors show?"
Oh.
Well, unfortunately, we can't release the DVD of an Ambassadors show because when we recorded it, we had to promise that we wouldn't sell it because you'd have to just play everybody, and we just couldn't have the money to do that. So, but we hope to do another stream, and also obviously because it was lovely what you said, and it thrilled so many people, and the streaming. I mean, we've got over 30,000 people all around the world watching it.
Really?
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's really good. yeah, we get those sort of viewings.
Views, what multiple people?
It was 30,000 views. So actually, if you think about how many people there would be in a,
But they had to pay to view it, didn't they?
As well.
It was.
No, they didn't have to pay. What we wanted to happen was that they would give a contribution to the NHS charities.
Oh, okay,
which
right.
We didn't want to charge people for it. We wanted them to be able to give to the charity, and that's what it was for. So unfortunately, we can't release the DVD, but we hope one day when everything gets back to being normal again, or whatever normal is, the new normal, that we can. This wonderful show, and I'm just so thrilled that so many people absolutely loved it and adored it. I mean, it was a lot of work, a long, hard slog to get it there, but to hear people say that, it's wonderful. So thank you. Thank you, Carol.
No, it's fab. I mean, Carol, you've answered almost some of the questions that we've got coming, but sourcing.
I do, I do. It's hard
Yeah,
to
no, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. It's sourcing the shoes and the clothes. I've got to get you onto the shoes because you've spoke about clothes. You've spoke about Mario. Modfather, our friends. They're our friends as well, and Gabici and them helped you out. But obviously, we're a shoe show, so I've got to. We obviously gave you some shoes. What about dancing in them shoes?
I absolutely love shoes and everything. My husband's laughing. Yes.
I want to. Is he going to take that camera?
Anyway, so I can speak, from the heart about shoes, and your shoes are wonderful, and everything about the show had to be right. The length of the trousers, I was really a stickler for it being perfect, all in the detail as it is for mod. And obviously I knew what things should be like, and it wasn't just a generic theatre costumes or anything like that. Everything was right, but of course getting 50-year-old shoes is quite hard.
Yes.
I have some originals, and I had some of mine, not from then, but that I bought subsequently. Some of the clothes of mine, but
Is he piping it? Sorry.
Yeah, and mine. Anyway, but to have the shoes, it was just so important. And what's wonderful about your shoes is they're just so perfect, and they're fantastic, replicas, and I just adored them. And as soon as I saw them, fell in love with them. And so did my dancers and all of them.
It was a joy. I mean, it was a joy to see them. I mean, I think to see the girls doing the 60s dance on the podium. One of your girls, that sounds so like the thing, but one of the ladies who was doing that, and she was saying about how she used to like doing the dance and being and seeing them in our shoes. It was like, wow,
almost like a sculpture, wasn't it? And a statue with white and the black and white shoes as well and everything. I mean, they would dance on really tiny podiums.
Yeah, they were about yay big, weren't they?
With the heels, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I hope they're going to fall off, but they were brilliant.
It leads on to the next question, actually. Say, because did you have total full creative license over those outfits, or is there certain requirements for the stage, like height of heels and things like that for boring health and safety reasons?
No, I did have control, and if I didn't, I'd bend the rules anyway. If it had to be authentic. Where did that come from? It wasn't me that quit. The only thing that you do have to consider, obviously, is for dancers, they need their legs and their ankles and stuff, but you have to sometimes put rubbers on the back of shoes, which was a shame because it, what's lovely is when they, you hear the clicking and stuff, but you had to put rubbers on that, and luckily nobody did break anything apart from me. I broke my toe.
When did you do that?
that was nothing to do with your shoes. Well, I was doing a quick change backstage, and it was in Brighton actually, and I ran from one side of the stage behind it to the other with no shoes on at all, because I had to do this quick change, and you can't make a noise either. And I ran straight into this stone step.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
With my toe, and it just broke there and then. And then we went to the pub afterwards, and someone trod on it, and I slid down the wall going, this needs to be like, oh, what a drama queen.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all.
Not knowing that I'd just broken my toe, but yes. Yeah. But there was nothing to do with my shoes, honestly, everybody. Yeah, so I do wear mine still. I've got a pair for myself.
So when I went to see it, what I felt was really good is that you certainly at the end of the show you get everybody up to dance, don't you? And do you feed off the audience like a band does? I mean, does it? I've never been on stage. I've been on him and me been on numerous bands together, but there's a difference. You're playing. Does it work like that in that kind of play?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and we had wonderful audiences, and that was great. I mean, that was one of the sort of bending rules. But sometimes there are health and safety. It's about trying to keep people in their seats, and we don't want that. We want people to get up. We want them up and dancing. All health and safety.
So why would you not be allowed to get up and dance, Carol?
Nothing worse than playing.
Health and safety.
Is it because
someone?
I'm just trying to imagine why.
They could sue.
Oh right.
But, it didn't, and that's what we wanted. We wanted everybody to go up, and they did. So it is great. So yeah. We love it.
They can't come and tell every single person in the audience to sit down, can they?
Well, they did. They try sometimes, and we did object. But depends on the theatre. Some theatres are a lot better than others. But the audiences are so important, and it was just so wonderful that some of the reactions that we got from the theatres and. From word go, really, and we wanted to make it like that and really make it raw and informal, you come off completely high off the audience at the end of the night, and not just me, all of the cast as well. That's the sort of greatest high.
Well, I was watching
the audience, and it's all played live, so it really is. Some musicals are not played live; they're a click track and. But all of that music and the singing and everything was all live. So because that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be like experiencing being there and listening to them and seeing them, because my boys were just so perfect as well, who played it.
That's one of the questions. I mean, you touched about it when you were doing a Q&A the other day. You were saying about the casting process, because Gemma, who's can't be here tonight, and she asked about that. She said, how did you find four little chaps that could play the guitar and look a bit like them, and there's so many ands in that subject.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was terribly hard. I mean, we had a lovely casting director, someone who'd been in the business for a very long time, who sort of, you put out the call and you scour the agents and the drama schools. There are a few, only a few drama schools now that do actual acting musicians, but actually sometimes when they talk so much like musical theatre, and it was just something that we really didn't want.
Oh, okay. They would have been a bit thespian, would they have been a bit sort of to project my voice, and all that sort of. Yeah.
We said we've got, don't do that. That's not what we want at all. So that was sort of one challenge, really. Another challenge was because in some musicals it's just sort of building up to a song, and there's not really much story.
Yeah.
This was a great, they needed to be really good actors as well to play the parts, and versatile because we double and treble characters as well, but also because they were so great musicians, and Steve Marriott had one of the most amazing voices that we've ever produced.
It's hard. He I don't know where he is on your screen, but Luke, my son, he's a lucky git, because when there's the end of Lazy Sunday, he does that, close my eyes and drift away, close my eyes, and he can do that. I did it on the karaoke on holiday, right? And I went, oh no, it's that bit. He did it, and I couldn't.
There's no. I mean, to
He's
me,
my favourite.
It's phenomenal. It's for phenomenal range. So to find somebody as good as that, it was very, very tough. But also, I had wonderful Pat Davey, who was my musical director, a musical supervisor, and he really drilled the boys in playing as the Small Faces did, and getting that sound. Obviously, Pat is not just in theatre. He's a he's a musician, and a famous musician in his own right. So, and he also plays with Kenny Jones, in the Jones Gang and everything. So he's
so it's a different requirement, isn't it? Yeah. If you're playing,
we didn't want that theatrical experience, and that's why some of the reviews we got were awful, because they didn't understand what we were doing, and it didn't meet the conventions enough. But we didn't want to meet the conventions. We wanted to make our own.
But that's a really good point then, and then I'll let Luke get on with some other questions. But
one more thing, and the final thing, like you said, finding them was, even if you found that person who was a great, musician, had a fantastic voice, could act really well, if they were over 5'9", we wouldn't have them.
Well,
we couldn't.
Yeah.
They had to be small. I mean, Small Faces were smaller than that, but we made the benchmark just under 5'9".
Right. Okay.
So that was so hard. It was so hard.
I bet it was hard. But I've got some questions about cutting room moments. But the bit which probably neatly brings us on to this question, and I'll let Luke finish the interview. But the Professor Unwin's speech, where you sitting 2 square feet on your body, and that long bit, when I saw it the first time, and he did that, I was like, oh my God, he's doing all of that, and I dare say that Professor Stanley Unwin couldn't have done it twice. It always sounds like something that it's just some gobbledygook that somebody says once. If you ask them to do it 4 times, it's never going to happen. Was that a cutting room floor moment? Was there times where you thought, or did he just get it? Or, I mean, are there actors that good they can just boom, they just...
Yeah.
It's their job, Andy.
Yeah.
It's just me then.
You do, that's your job. It would be like, I made a good pair of shoes that time, but I couldn't do it again. Of course you do. You have to stay right, and it has to be perfect. And and he loved doing it. He really loved doing it, and we loved hearing it. And and it all made perfect sense.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
Carol,
he's a great actor and a very good comic actor.
No, he was fabulous. It was Luke.
I think you touched upon it obviously earlier with the question that came from Facebook, but the future for the All or Nothing musical, is there plans after, obviously it's all a bit up in the air at the moment, but is there plans to bring it back to the theatres?
Well, we'd love to. I mean, obviously, it's a very difficult time for us because theatres are so badly hit. All actors, you know, and entertainers are. But as far as the theatres go, it's a lot of some theatres have gone down because of what's happened. And you know, I was ready. I was about to do a tour of another play which I was acting in called Thundergirls, which had been a great hit, and we had a tour booked, and I was starting in September. That's all been cancelled until next year. So it's really a question of catching up with theatre if they're still there. So it's become even more difficult, but we'd love to do it. But it is a question of money, really, because it's a very expensive show to take out, you know, with all the costume changes, with all the cast, with all the everything live and all of that. It is an expensive show. And, you know, and sometimes we sold out, and sometimes other theatres, you know, they didn't have the enough advertising, you know, so you might not break even, you know, so it's a tough game. But we did, you know,
but it's like being in a band, isn't it?
Totally the same with the bands, isn't it? Sometimes you'll play, it sells out in no time, you have a fantastic night, and other times it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves it. We really wanted it. We did really, really well at the first theatre we did in town. So we're hoping that we just hope, you know, especially if we win the lottery. If I win the lottery, it will be done again. But if, you know,
one question.
Otherwise, apart from that, we might have to find some very rich
benefactor.
To come with me and Charles, because I think I've used all Charles's money up already. So
a question I'd like to ask, which isn't actually on here, but with, you know, the way we're doing this tonight and the way, like, you've already streamed, you know, done the live stream of the show a couple of, well, you hopefully planning on doing it again. Do you see that as, even post lockdown, as being a future for this kind of thing? Because like lots of bands certainly are getting into doing it. Do you think that could be a future way for musical theatre?
Yeah, but then it's like a TV experience, isn't it? It's not a live.
It's not the same as being there. No, it's not. But
no. I mean, it was funny because when your dad mentioned brushstrokes, and I used to love that because I know I've done a lot of telly, but I've done a lot of theatre, and to me, there's nothing quite like live theatre. But when I did sitcoms, and I did another sitcom called Get Back with me and Ray Winston, and you actually record some of the outside broadcast you film outside, but the other stuff you do in a studio in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And I used to love that because to me that was like a really good combination of the two things.
But they do that now, don't they, with Mrs. Brown's Boys and the other one,
yes,
and the other, the bigger lady who's is in Call the Midwife, and she does that comedy, and that's all kind of live.
Right.
That one you love, Luke, the Gone Wrong show.
The Goes Wrong show, yeah.
The Goes Wrong. That just totally works because it's live.
Yeah,
and people get the gag, and
it was just a question. I don't agree with that subject. I much prefer playing live to doing our. We put in the band that me and Gemma, who's sadly not with us tonight, we've been doing lots of live stream stuff over the lockdown ourselves, and it's not the same as being on stage and playing. Nowhere near the same.
It's wonderful that people are doing it, but I don't think it'll ever, you know, replace that sort of thing. Not in my mind, but then, you know, I'm of a different generation. But you know, for me, like I said, we come off stage after doing All or Nothing, and we were high.
Yeah. I know that. I know that feeling. We both know that feeling too well. Sitting in our kitchen after a gig, Luke, me and you sort of like going, right, we're going to bed, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah. yeah.
I don't even live with him.
He don't. He lives around the corner.
I was just there.
But, so we really hope for safer times, we get through this, you know.
So Luke, you've got a couple more questions.
We have the big one. Would you consider doing a similar type of show for another band? Is there, or not necessarily thinking about it professionally, or how much it would, you know, the money that has to go to it? Just, is there another band that you would like to do one with?
Well, I don't know, because I always said no after this because it'd been like so much. Oh my God. And as I say, it wasn't just, to me, it wasn't just about the band, it was about the time, and it was about the East End and the whole mod.
So So it's quite personal. It's quite a personal. It's a personal film.
Quite close, very close to me. And the only band that my idol, apart from loving Stevie, is John Lennon. So
that could be hard.
Lots of things done about the Beatles. So and you'd never get their music. So,
no, that would just be so hard.
So I don't really know. I mean, I often thought of doing something about Blondie because I like Blondie. And it was like a part I could play. So but who knows? It's no good me saying no or never. But because
as soon as you say never, it will come back and bite you. Yeah.
Well, yeah. People have asked me. And I've said, I'm not quite sure because I've got to be really passionate about it because it takes so much to write something like that. Honestly,
but in the time I've known you, Carol, and I've seen All or Nothing kind of be muted as an idea and all of that. I mean, that's got to be 6 or 7 years. That just in my simple head. So no doubt there must have been 2 or 3 years before that, and you're still doing interviews about it. I mean, I've asked you to come on and talk about it, and you're still talking about something that was. Yeah. A little while ago, really.
Well, we our last show in the West End was 2018. About this time, 2018. So 2 years ago, we carried on doing the All or Nothing Experience, which is a sort of musical part of the show. So it's a sort of a flavour of the show. I don't know whether you've come to see that one, guys, but people love that too because that we can still do all of that live and. It's a great audience participation thing. But actually, of course, I'm writing the movie of All or Nothing at the moment.
Oh, right, because that neatly brings us on to what you're up to now. And then we must get on with the next bits.
Well, I'm writing the film of All or Nothing at the moment. So that was commissioned. So I'm doing that. And so, again, we'll see what happens with the film industry. Good time for everyone, and also I will do Thunder Girls, which is a thing that I love doing, which was my last thing I did on stage, which is written by a wonderful woman called Melanie Blake, and it's about an 80s girl band.
Oh, that could be fun.
Are reunited, and we did that at Lowry. It was great success, and that's great fun. And what's so wonderful is all I have to do is act.
Yeah.
And it's great fun and wonderfully well written and really lovely to do. So I get to play really nice stuff.
Carol, what we're going to do, if that's okay with you, we're going to play a couple of tunes. We've got to kind of get out of this formal bit of the show. You hang around because we're going to have Elliot.
Join us for our pub chat.
Yeah, stay in for our pub chat. We're going to play a couple of songs. I'm going to play the Veras next. You're going to see the Veras over there. Now the Veras are the Small Fakers in a disguise. And it's their originals band. So they write their own songs, and they've done and they have done a really fantastic lockdown video. And I'm not being rude to anybody else who's done one, but this really is a masterclass in how to do a lockdown video.
Very, very good.
It is superb. So let's play that, and then we'll do a couple more things, and we'll get Elliot on, and we'll get drunk, basically.
Right.
Right, let's have the Veras.
Are you coming out to play? We've got lots of things to say, but if you want to stay at home, we could talk
Right, we're back on, Luke. So
that is a brilliant video. It's so well made.
It is. It's excellent.
And a great song as well. It's not just all about the video. It's a good song too.
Yeah. I mean, they've done a nice one. I can see Elliot is just poking in the side there. Let me just turn off. We are having a moment, Elliot.
We often have those.
Oh, we are. I'm just trying to find Gemma's song. Desperate. Luke, talk to Elliot while I try and find Gemma's song.
I am. Elliot, are you okay? And you're pleased with your new boots.
I love
They've
them.
done a nice one.
I love
can
them.
see Elliot is just poking right there. Let me just turn off. We are having a moment, Elliot.
Sorry, Luke. Hey, man.
We often have those.
Oh, we are. Elliot, have you got our live feed on as well as the thing? Because I can hear that.
And you're pleased.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you need to turn off the YouTube thing because you're listening to the YouTube as well as got Zoom on.
Okay,
Turn the other one off, please.
Luke, what's the song called? Because I've got to find it.
It's just in the Google Drive folder for May.
How's that?
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's perfect, Elliot. Thank you.
Oh, there it is.
I'm computer retarded.
Oh, no, you're fine, fella. I've just got to do some things because the beautiful Gemma has recorded a song for me, and some idiot, and we'll call him Andy, hasn't downloaded it yet.
Shall we just play it midway through our pub chat and just carry on with the next sketch while you sort
Yes,
that out?
let's do that.
Because we are now, just bear with me 2 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. All right, 10 seconds.
What are you trying to do, Luke?
I'm going to the pub.
Yay! We're in the pub.
I'm headed down the pub for a chat with Elliot. Are you joining me in the pub, Andy?
I'm going to join you in the pub as soon as I've downloaded Gemma, which sounds weird.
Am I on?
Yeah. You are live, Elliot.
I am live.
Yeah, you're on, mate.
Live to the
I ruined my entrance.
with his new Elliot's. So Elliot and Carol are both joining us this evening in the Mod Shoes virtual pub. Andy's not quite there yet.
I'm just getting Gemma's song ready, so for when we need to play it, and then I need to turn various things off. Luke, welcome, Elliot. We've got to start the conversation. Elliot meet Carol, Carol meet Elliot. So
I've really been enjoying your chat so much. I love that the last idea you were talking about for a film about a band reuniting, and it made me think of that great Bill Nighy film, Still Crazy. Which was
Still Crazy. Yeah, that's lovely.
A great movie about a band getting back together and the lead singer syndromes and
well, this is a girl band, so it's like the reunion from hell. So they haven't spoken to each other for 30 years, and so it's all really
you saw at the Hall of Fame then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Still Crazy thing, but much more bitchy. Everything is brilliant. You actually fight with each other and scrap.
I just it made me think of that film. That's all.
That's right. Yeah. That's a good film. Yeah. Bill's brilliant in that, isn't he? I love Bill in that. Yeah, he's fabulous. Bill Nye and I did our very first TV together. Funnily enough, our first TV show together in 1976.
Andy, we're just going to have all the name dropping here. Shall we just leave them to it?
Yeah, we're in the pub. We're going to the back of the pub. We're going to the back of the pub. And...
I don't get the drink.
Hold it a bit closer, Elliot, to the camera.
From Blondie. And it's myself and Clem Burke from Blondie and Andy Babuke from the Chesterfield Kings and Wally Palmer from the Romantics.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, see, I've got another story. Yeah, we can tell some stories because I was talking about Blondie. The other thing I would do would be Blondie, but I did her for Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes. We have this program called Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes, and I was asked to do her for that. And I went back and met her. Backstage. When she was doing a concert, and she knew me because she watched EastEnders as well. So.
Did she?
Yeah, she said, "Oh, gee, can I come?" You know, to watch. I went, "Oh no, oh God." Anyway, and I said that, what I was doing, and she said, "Oh, Carol," she said, "just sing out of tune and wiggle your tits."
Andy, do you remember our one about Blondie when we went to watch the Who?
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
When we went to see the Who, but it was a Teenage Cancer Trust gig. Well, in London, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Andy got the tickets for it. And we all went. Me, Andy, my mum, and my wife, and a couple of mates. And then we technically had backstage passes, but then they wouldn't let us in backstage. So none of us actually got to meet anybody. But my wife managed to blag it into the backstage. So she met the Who, she met Blondie, she met like all the other people that were there, and none of us had managed to. So
and what did she call Mr. Daltrey?
We're not going to say that one live on camera.
Yeah, we bloody are. She went. What did she call? I can't remember the name she called him now, but it wasn't Roger.
So basically, Luke, she
still
ditched.
bought her a drink though.
Yeah. He did. That was it. That was it, Carol. That was it.
She ditched us. She did. Well, this was back at a time before I had this thing, and I used to smoke. And I got out for a fag. Came back in. I was like, "Where's Stacey gone?" Like we didn't know where she'd gone, and she just got into the backstage bit. There she was, just like living it up.
The rock star.
I've got to tell you guys, Carol. Can I share with you a Steve Marriott experience?
Yeah.
I was at the Fillmore East show where Humble Pie recorded the Rock and the Fillmore album.
Oh yeah.
I went, I grew up in Long Island and would go to the Fillmore all the time. So everybody, and somebody yelled. I remember it so clear. Somebody yelled from the audience, "How do you sing like that?" And it was like, I don't need no doctor or something amazing.
Yeah.
I don't smoke.
Oh yeah. I believe that one.
Go on, sorry,
Steve would never
Carol.
do anything like. Steve would never do anything like that. Smoking, would think no.
Well, but the story that goes, what he's embarrassed about and he doesn't want his wife to say, is that she went backstage and she met like everybody who was playing the Teenage Cancer. The Who were playing, Blondie was playing, Richard Ashcroft, Bryan Adams. There was just a wall to wall, and she just walked straight past the bouncer and walked into the back room and just started talking to everyone like Stacey can. That's what Stacey's like. Anyway, so she's backstage. She's talked to everybody. Somebody's brought her a drink who she's getting on really well with, and she's come back out and she said, "Come back. They're all having a right. You'll be all right, love." She says, "I met this really nice guy called Robert." And I was thinking, who's back there called Robert? I can't think anybody who's going to be back there called Robert. So I go with her, and there's some big bouncers. Anyway, she goes, here comes Robert now. There's Robert. And it was Roger Daltrey. And she called him Robert to his face. And he went, all right, love, how are you? He didn't care, did he?
He bought her a drink.
He did.
It was one of those heads in hand moment though, wasn't it? It was just like,
oh no.
Want to hear mine?
Say again.
Mine. It was good, and it was a really good night.
Yeah, it was good for you. It was good. Elliot, how pleased as punch are you with a boot with your name on it?
Bigger than the screen, but no, of course I'm so pleased. It's great. I mean, I would love to shoot no matter.
And there's lots of love for him on Facebook tonight as well. Someone, Yvonne, is messaging. I just received the Elliot shoes I ordered for my husband. He loves them. Says they're so comfortable. They look very mod and very Elliot Easton.
Oh! How cool's that?
Isn't that called art imitating life?
Yes, but I should at least tell the story. I'm driving my car. I've got hands-free kit in my car, and I'm driving along, and I see this number like come up 2 or 3 times, and it's an American number. And I thought, I wonder if that's somebody trying to diddle me. And I just kind of ignored it, to be fair. And I thought, because we get a few scammers in the country, and we thought it was one of those where it's pinging back and it's going to cost me a fortune. And so it rings and rings. I thought, I'm going to have to answer that. I answered it, and it was him. and it was Elliot, and he was saying, I hear that you might be the guy, so let's just get this into perspective. you might be the only guy in the world that can make me some shoes like I want. And he's ringing me from California, and I'm driving, just coming back from B&Q.
Yeah.
Say it again, Elliot. I didn't hear it. Say it again.
I'd been looking for them for about 50 years at that point. Ever since,
Oh.
you know what it was? I think that really did it. That was the inner booklet on High Tide Greengrass, the Stones album, with the pictures of Brian in the wide whale red cords with the white shoes, you know, the black sweat.
Wow, yeah, yeah.
And the whole front line had those white shoes, you know, they're standing by the rocks on the cover.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was the kind of the genesis. And I've been I'd had pairs made and try to get close, like sort of an artist rendition.
Yeah.
So the way I guess I found Andrew was just simply Googling mod shoes because
mod shoes, yeah. Obvious, isn't it? Mod shoes.
Where I didn't know there was a store called or anything. Mod shoes. So,
It's pretty cool. Elliot, do me one favour. On your Zoom at the top left, have you got turn on original sound? Can you see that? When you go over the top left, there's a couple of buttons. Can you see? Does it say turn on original sound? Is there a little button?
No, I don't have a button that says that. Let me see. Meeting. I'm looking for the.
It'd be top left.
It sounds all right if he's a bit closer to the camera.
Yeah, because when you're away from the crowd, you lose some clarity on your microphone when you're.
Let me turn the mic up real quick.
If you stay just there, then you're fine.
Is that any better?
That's better.
I just turned.
Yeah, that's miles better. Yeah. That's much better. Because are you on about this particular?
It is a long way away.
Is it this picture here, Elliot? This picture?
Yay!
Andrew, you'll see them standing on the rocks and stuff, and Nick's wearing them on the front cover.
Yes.
And they're all sort of wearing, but they wore them a lot around 65. You know, I just always loved mod stuff.
Fell in love with them. I had a pair of shoes, Elliot, in about 65, and they were blue suede, a beautiful blue suede, like not quite pastel, but more vivid blue suede, with a little round toe. And you know, there was quite a lot of daisy patterns, but they had sort of a cutout like a daisy on them, and they were blue. And I loved them so much that I used to sleep with them on my pillow.
I tell you,
sleep with them on my pillow next to me.
Go for it, Elliot.
Make some of those and call them the Bonkers Carol shoes.
We had a chat earlier about the shoes and like George Harrison's shoes and all that, and of course I know exactly the photos they talk about, and he wore the red ones in the Hey Jude David Frost video and all that kind of stuff, and I've always been so observant of that. But when I was a kid, and you know, in America, of course, it meant something very different. It was basically a fashion. It wasn't a social movement, right? But there was this, the shop that had mod shoes in America was called Flag Brothers, and they were sort of like Shelley's in a way, very inexpensive but cool style, right? And that's where we'd go to get our suede Beetle boots, except I wasn't allowed to have them, and I would hide them in my locker at school and put them on when I got there. When I'd have my pants altered, like, you know, my mom would pin them up and take them to the tailor, and I'd move the pins and make them tighter when she wasn't looking. You know?
I used to hide my clothes that I wasn't allowed to be wearing under a hydrangea bush in the front garden in a bag, and then I come out with I was supposed to wear, get changed, you know, behind the bush.
Yeah.
And then run out and be out, and then I'd have to do the whole thing again before I went in. We find ingenious ways.
Forbid us. I wonder if we'd be so obsessed with it now.
Well,
I think if I was allowed to have them then, I wouldn't have 150 pair now. You know?
Exactly. And thing about shoes. That's what I was saying. Yeah, because yeah, I think mine was poverty because I was, as I say, I was quite lucky because my mum was a tailoress, so I could have, you know, she could make me lovely clothes. But we were a single parent family in the 60s, and it was more rare then. We were very poor because I never had good shoes, you know. So I went to school, and the first day at school, I went in boys' shoes that were hand-me-downs, lace-ups, and I think that's why I got my shoe fetish.
I think that's but I remember stuff like that. Hand-me-downs seems to be a thing you do and you don't hear now. Do you know what I mean? I remember.
They were boys' shoes. That was what was so horrible.
But you remember kids turning up to school, you know, with their jacket like hanging off over there, and about that too deep. Yeah. You know.
You'll go into it. Well, I did a feature for OK Magazine, you know, and it was this sort of at-home thing, and then there was a picture of me when I was about 6 on the side, and I had this cardigan on, and it was all sort of buttoned up here, and my freckles and things like that. And they said, "Oh, you know, when was that?" And I said, "Oh, I was about 6 then." And I said, "Oh, when that?" And she said, "Oh, tell me the story of the picture." I went, "Oh, well, I was about 6." I said, "Oh, that cardigan there that I'm wearing, the sort of sweater thing I'm wearing." I said, "Oh, that's probably the earliest form of recycling because that was about 3 things before." And I said, it's so hard. The wall was so hard I couldn't lift my arms.
Now, Luke, and you're
musical article. Yeah, they said, they tried to put down that it was like, it was a hand-me-down. It was my sister before, and no, it wasn't my sister's before. It was mine, but it was just another garment. I used to have to sit there while she unpicked it with my hands like this, and she'd unpick the wool and knit it and make it into something else. You know, didn't understand that concept at all.
Do you never? But we've never had that because are you, me and you, Luke, are firstborns, aren't we? So I'm the oldest. You're the oldest. Where are you? Are you not the oldest? Sense? Have you got brothers? Say again.
Me or Elliot? I'm my sister's older than me. Yeah, I've got one sister.
And you, Elliot? What about you?
I'm the oldest of 5 siblings, 2 sets of twins younger than me.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
They're all fraternal, no identical. They just look like brother or sisters, you know, but 2 sets of twins, like 4 more.
And are they both the same sex, or are they?
One's a brother and sister, and then the other's 2 girls, but one's short, tall, dark, blonde.
Oh no, they're not twins then. They're not real twins.
Not identical twins. I'm just popping to the bar.
Right, get me one while you're there.
What's everyone having?
I'm on the way.
Well, just for that, I'm going to show you where I am. You think you're in such a great place?
Oh, you wait for this, Carol. Wait, he's going to show his swimming pool. Wait for this.
It's hot out, but
show me. All right.
Look at that swimming pool.
No, but I was in mine today.
I love that swimming pool. And Elliot, how hot is it there at the moment? How warm are you?
It's 92 Fahrenheit.
Jeez.
So I don't know the convert. You know, it's almost 100 degrees here. It's almost in triple digits already. Yeah. It's only the end of May. You know.
And what would it get up to?
Oh, here in the San Fernando Valley, it'll get up on really hot days on 112, 115.
Jeez.
Crazy. You know, that fry an egg on a sidewalk deal.
Oh, okay. That's
it was boiling here today, Elliot. It was really hot here today. I was sitting around my pool. That's why I'm so red. And our pool was like the degree. It was 29 degrees in the pool. You know, but yeah, got a bit red today.
So you were saying, Elliot, it's warm. It's a bit warm to be a mod in California, isn't it?
You know, I'm sweating here in my Gabici buttoned-up polo because I wanted to. But it's very hot here now.
Yeah.
Really.
Especially if it's original 60s stuff with all those sort of Bry nylons and stuff. It's not really stuff to wear in that heat, is it?
I'm wearing all mod shoes gear today. My shirt, my Ben Sherman chinos with the cool turn-up stripe,
Brilliant.
my mod sock, and my namesake boots.
Hey.
The namesakes, that's it. Lovely.
Well, hold on. I'll have to do a similar thing. Look, there's mine. The socks are from us, you know, and everything is. We sell these jeans, you know. It's kind of it's kind of weird. I've not brought anything in months. It's like well, this is fantastic, you know. Whereas I used to have to spend quite a lot of money on other people's stuff. I just wear my own now. It's like it's a bit of luck, to say the least. So, sorry, Elliot, I can't hear you. Talk again.
Oh, I said if you go public, I'll need to go. I'll need to buy stock.
Yeah.
Mod shoes.
He does. Elliot is a very good customer of ours.
You can run it, Elliot.
Carol, I tell you, I come from very, very lower middle class family myself, and had a very similar situation. In fact, I couldn't even get a decent guitar until I got a job and washed dishes for it. So,
oh wow,
I had to work for it. I did.
I brought my first amplifier, potato picking. I worked 4 weeks, and I think it was ridiculous sum. I was getting like £1 a day or some ridiculous amount of money, and I ended up buying an amplifier. And please don't take this the wrong way, but it was a big old thing like this. It had a volume, a tone, and a vibrato on it, and that was all. And it was called Venus. And some obviously enterprising chap had brought a P from the local shop and put P where the V should have been, and I think you could work the rest out.
Sounds good to me. My Fender tube amp's only got a volume, a tone, and a reverb on it.
Yeah, but it was okay. It did.
Simplicity is key.
We can't hear Elliot. Why does Elliot's not kick in like as loud as ours?
Because he's not close enough.
I'll lean in. All right, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
You could be further away and shout, and it wouldn't make a difference. You need to be like as close as you can, really.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
We used to, when I used to do a job on a Saturday, and I got 12 and 6 for my Saturday job, which is old money, which is like, God, what's 12 and 6, Ian? 10 bob was 5 shillings. Well, it's all about 60p in today's money. Anyway, and we used to run when I finished the job, and run to the record shop to get my American imports, my soul.
Yeah, okay.
We couldn't, you had to order some records, and sometimes they'd take 6 weeks to come from the States. I remember when Otis Redding died, and William Bell brought out a tribute to a king. Do you remember that one, Elliot?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had to order that, and I was obviously in mourning when he died, so.
Did you see him, Carol? Did you go to that tour? Did you go to the '66 tour? Did you go to that?
See him? No, I didn't see him.
No.
Didn't see him. No, I didn't see him live. No.
Did you see him, Elliot? We can't hear you, Elliot. Go for it, Elliot. Go for it.
The Stax Volt tour in '66 of Europe.
Yeah, I didn't see.
Oh God, I have the videos. It's amazing.
I'd have done anything to do that. I think that must have been one when I was like, couldn't get out from my mother. You know what I mean? It was one of them, But I'd have done anything to see that one, because I idolised Otis.
So, have you worked with any of those, Elliot? Have you worked with any of the Stax guys, or?
Cropper. I've done work with Steve Cropper from Booker T and the MGs. I played on stage with Sam Moore, and I think that might be about it.
Are they good guys? Good to work with, or?
Yeah. Well, Sam was great. It was just sort of one of these all-star charity things, and we backed him, and he was just lovely. His wife was kind of looking after him, one of those kind of 90 years. And Steve Cropper was producing a lot of records in LA at the studio at Cherokee, where Cars used to make records. Something I wanted to share a story with you. I was loving what you were talking about earlier, the shoes and mod and all that. I just wanted to tell you, my first time, how bad I have it. My first time coming to England, we make the first Cars record. We did it at Air London on Oxford Street. And we stayed at the World in Kensington. Basically, I got off the plane and got in the car. First thing I saw was a billboard that said, "A saucy little faggot." Okay, meatball, right? But you remember that billboard. So then I get to the Royal Garden. I see the Kensington Market across the street. I put my bags down, went right in, found one of those stalls where those Middle Eastern guys would make boots and shoes to order and have them a couple days. I ordered a pair of snakeskin Brian Jones boots, and then went back to the hotel and unpacked. I did that month so long. It was the first thing I wanted to do.
So you're in England.
Have you still got them? Have you still got them?
Yeah, I think I do. As a matter of fact, yes.
Yeah, good, great, yeah. I used to get my cowboy boots. Well, I've got loads of cowboy boots, and I bought quite a few pairs in Nashville. But there used to be a shop for cowboy boots called Arseholes in Kings Road.
They were called what?
Arseholes.
Oh right, I see. Right.
Yeah. Do you go to that one, Elliot? Arseholes.
Across the street from Robot on Kings Road.
On Kings Road.
Right across from Robot, where I used to buy shoes.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's where I got my cowboy boots. Yeah.
We stayed on Fulham Road. We rented a house from Davina Phillips when we made Heartbeat City. Andy Williams, and it was Lionel Bart's house. And I was reading the Lennon book, Pete Shotton's book, In My Life. And there's a picture of them sitting on the floor in that house with the same rug at parties that Lionel Bart used to have. And there was, he was a little, kinky, and there were two one-way mirrors in the rooms and this and that. And I'm sitting there in the room reading the book. I look at the picture, I look around, holy mackerel, I'm in the room where I'm reading about, and there's the picture of Lennon sitting there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to get a drink. I am listening, but I want a drink.
But of course, Lionel Bart was an East End boy as well. He's from the East End of London.
Yeah.
And Steve was in his was in Oliver. Did you know that?
Yes, I even commented about Natalia Conti when you were talking.
That's right, yeah. And he was in Oliver. Played the Artful Dodger in Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah. When you said that you had met him at a young age, I thought maybe it was at acting school. So I put Natalia Conti, thinking maybe, because I know about, what's your name, Posta, Adrian Posta and
went there. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I thought maybe that connection,
Yeah. No, I didn't go to Natalia Conti. I'm a bit younger than Steve, so there's 7 years. So they're the same age as my cousins. Well, my cousins are that age, and I was like the baby, the younger one.
Yeah. Well, I was 10 years old in '64, so that'll.
Yeah. Oh, you're the same age then.
Yeah.
The same age. That's it. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, apparently I've just had a comment on here saying that somebody thinks that Our Souls is still there.
No, it's not. It's not there. Sadly, it's not. I went there about 6 years ago. It's gone. It's gone.
Shame.
It's been terrible. But actually, there's a show that I did about Our Souls. You can still see it on.
You did a show. Hold on, no. Rewind that. You did a show about Our Souls.
I had this shoe fetish, right? Like when you're, a celebrity and stuff, they ask you to do shows and different things. So they wanted to do a show about one of my passions. One was shoes, but I have a lot of cowboy boots. I love cowboy boots. I'm a bit of a closet country queen, me really. And so they did a show about my boots, my cowboy boots. So we went to Our Souls, and they all know me in there, and I've had one's made and stuff. And that's still on YouTube. Bits of that, I think.
Hold on a minute. So hold on. Let's just rewind what you just said there as well. I could I could search YouTube for Carol Harrison and our souls.
Yeah, isn't an arsehole, yeah. Carol Harrison arseholes, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're a boot fan. Do you know Rocket Busters?
Sorry,
In the
I'm
States?
just hearing every other word.
Do you know Rocket Busters cowboy boots?
Rocket
In the
Buster.
States?
No.
Google
Where's
it and
that?
it's in Texas. You Google it and you'll lose your mind.
Oh, it's Axis. Oh, right, okay. I know Lucchese's. I know I've got some of that Lucchese's. No, they're
No,
boots.
These are insane.
They're
They
the
make
store.
they make the short. They make the
Elliot,
short
Elliot, Elliot, have you got like your microphone? I don't know why your microphone. Some reason I don't know if it was because you're in the when you was in the other room. Your internet's close. Are you closer to the hub or something? When you was in the other room where your guitars are or something?
Yeah, I'm in the same room. All I did was walk outside for a second. I haven't moved.
Yeah, I don't know why, but when you're talking, it's yeah.
Let me go. I'll go to another room and see if it improves. I'm in my studio. Let me go into the main. We have terrible Wi-Fi, and I'll cop to that.
Oh, we get a tour now as well. We're getting a tour.
Oh yeah, if you ask him nicely, he'll walk you around the house.
Yeah.
Don't let him show me the guitar, all the guitar cabinet.
You'll be jealous.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Well, when I come to the States, next, when we're allowed to fly, you'll have to, you have to tell me about rocket boots in Texas. You said, yeah.
Just jot it down, Rocket Buster, and Google it. It'll blow your mind.
I will.
swear. Okay. I'm all good now with the audio. You can hear me from here, good.
That does sound a bit clearer, to be honest.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's just ask about that. Is that we asked this before, but is that a Vox Phantom? Is that yours? And
Yeah, well, it is. I'm so bad at this. There it is. It's a left-handed Vox Phantom, which you wouldn't see very often. I'm left-handed. It's not an original British Vox. It's not an Italian Vox. There's a guy now called Phantom Guitar Works, and he's making sort of replicas of Vox guitars, but in a way they play better than the originals because they were sort of inexpensive. They were made by the Italian Echo Company, and
they're going to be dreadful then. yeah. I've had a couple of Echo guitars. Yeah.
This one is a Phantom Guitar Works.
Look at that. That's so cool.
That's so beautiful.
The one next to it was a gift. It's covered in Swarovski crystals.
Wow.
Wow. Does it weigh a ton? Can you play it?
It doesn't sound good.
Is that why it's on that wall?
It looks good, but doesn't sound good.
My wife had this wonderful wall feature with bookshelves and space for speakers and stereo and all, and we thought it would be fun to hang a couple of sort of art guitars up, so you know who lived there.
Yeah. No, she's right. She's right. It's they're the sort of guitars that you see in the back of pubs in England, aren't they, Carol? When you go like the hard rock cafes and things like that. Do you have that? Do you have that in America?
Right.
Hard rock, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like you go into some bars and they have like such and such a guitar from the 60s?
No, we went to TGI Fridays with my son on his birthday. We grabbed some lunch, and they just have an encore or something hanging up on there.
Yeah.
No, but I think that the hard rock ones are actual.
They tend to have like original artist ones, hard rock cafes.
They have about 20
the idea.
Hard Rock Cafe have about 20 of my guitars that circulate at their restaurants around the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But they were mine, and I didn't give them to them.
Do you get a discount? Can you say I might have wrote just what I needed on that? Can I have my burger for free, please?
Well,
Should
you know
do.
what it is. When you can't even afford a guitar, no one wants to know you. But when you can buy anyone you want, they're all falling them
You
out.
get anything. Yeah. You get given everything. That's what I say. Yeah. Yeah.
If they think they can sell some if you play it, then they will give you one. But if you don't influence anybody to buy their guitar, they have no reason to give you one. And I've been very that way.
Yeah, no,
I tell you what. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to tell you guys. You were talking about one of the questions earlier was about the original guitarist in the Yardbirds, and I was at the Ronnie Lane Arms show at Albert Hall, that original show, and so I think it was the only time Clapton, Beck, and Page played all together at the same time, and it was really great. I also saw the Everly Brothers reunion that year. Happened to be in England, and it was also at Albert Hall. But that Arms show was fantastic, and Ronnie was there, and everybody was there.
Wonderful.
But I was going to tell you, after what?
No.
After the concert. Well,
So you
after the concert.
I keep butting in. Sorry.
I think that's what's causing the problem. I think what's happening is when Elliot speaks and then somebody talks over it. That's when his voice cuts out.
Yeah. So go for it. Go, Elliot.
Sorry.
All right, so if you shut the hell up, I'll tell the story and it won't cut out. No kidding. After the Arms, there was a party for everybody at the first Hard Rock Cafe, the real one in London, and everybody was there. It was like that Guy Pillart Rock Dreams book, you know. You know what I mean? It was like and there's Jeff Beck chatting with Roger Waters and Patty Boyd's walking by, and it was like that, And it's like, wow, I'm in London and everybody's here. It's 20 years a little late, but it was one of those moments,
Lovely. Yeah, fabulous.
That must have been fun. That must have been. And Carol, you obviously have you met any of these people in your travels?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've met quite a few people. Unfortunately, I never met. As I said, I never went to see Otis Redding, which is one of my biggest regrets, or John Lennon. But I met all the other Beatles, and that's quite wonderful. I remember a funny story about when I was in EastEnders again, and I was walking down Sloane Street to my hairdressers, and I'd just done this interview, and they go, "Oh, what's the highlight of your career?" And you don't really know what to say, and you say all things like, "Oh, I don't know whether I've had it yet," and just, every new day brings new things, or whatever you think of, something, another answer to say. And as I was walking down the road, Ringo Starr was walking the other way towards me with Barbara Bach, and I could see him. It was like, like in the supermarket when people nudge each other and go, "It's her, her from EastEnders," sort of thing. And she was going, "What are you talking about?" She was going, "Oh no," and I could tell that's what it was the same. You recognise the sort of thing, and I'm thinking, "Oh God, that's Ringo Starr." He's coming towards me, and then as I got closer, he said, "Loving your work," and I went, "Likewise." Surprise. But I mean, what do you say? And then I just sort of went past, and I was really quite cool at the time. And then I thought, oh my God, that is wonderful. That I've got a Beatle going, "Oh look, it's her." How funny is that? This kid from the East End.
Elliot, don't you know Ringo? You know him, don't you?
I do, but again, Carol is such a good storyteller, and I had another like her. A brush with greatness with John and Yoko. I was in Boston studying at Berklee College of Music, and John was in town. He was playing disc jockey, which he loved to do. This was a FM station in Boston, WBCN, and he was spinning his favorite records. Everybody knew he was in town in Boston, and I didn't think about it after that. Walking down Commonwealth Avenue, and like 3 or 4 people are passing me, and he was wearing that big fur coat, and Yoko, a couple other people, like, probably the Capitol Records guy or whoever it was. And I registered after he passed me. I went, oh my God, that was John Lennon. You know, it was like so fast. You know, I wasn't looking for him. I was just walking. I looked up. There they were. They passed by me. I went, oh my goodness, that was Lennon. You know, so
It's amazing, isn't it?
the
Wonderful.
thing, I keep missing my threads, but when you said what Ringo said to you about your show, Lennon, in his very, very last interview with Ann Peebles, mentions the Cars Touch and Go. He's talking about, he's talking about Just Like Starting Over and how it was kind of a 50s song, like an Elvis kind of song. And he said, you know, he felt that it was his first record in a long time, 5 years or whatever. He felt that the time was right again for that sound. And he's saying, I hear a lot of 50s influence in some of the new bands. And he goes, like that, the Cars Touch and Go, oh. And he said, you know, it's like a Buddy Holly kind of hiccup, you know. And he's saying how like the B-52s that start to sound like you know, like lobster sounds. And one of those moments, I mean, he mentioned he knew who we were and liked our music, and it just put me away.
Oh, it's made me all choked up. I want to cry now. Mind you, every time anyone talks about John Lennon, I want to cry. So,
Carol, who's the most famous? Because we're not going to get into that. But has it been nice, the selection of people coming to see the Small Faces, all or nothing? Has it been, you know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like Holly, is it Molly Marriott or Holly? It's Molly, isn't it, Marriott? You know, having her, and having her, and then I don't know, like you said, the guy from the farm's been to see it. Is it been?
Yeah, well, Molly was our vocal coach, so she was very much, you know, part of it. You know, I involved Molly from the beginning. It's been lovely, and you know, like Elliot was talking about Ronnie Lane. I mean, I'm really good friends with his brother Stan. And he's on that advert.
I've met him.
Yes, and he's wonderful. I mean, it's just people who are wonderful people. I mean, obviously, you know, we had Brian May come to the show, we loved it. Bill Nye turned up, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's Bill Nye!" And I just said, you know, I knew Bill like from 45 years ago, and we did our first telly. We've had some wonderful people come to see the show. Oh God, I can't think now.
But is it a lot? Is it? I mean, does it? Is it
a lot?
It's
a lot.
Thing. It makes you. Of course, no one's no one's better than all of that sort of stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, does it make you feel like, oh wow, I know him. Oh wow, oh wow, you know, and it's the wow moment. It's not the wow.
It's wonderful because it's very funny for me because of I think when they come to see me in other things, I've been a little bit more wow. And I'm not saying I'm not wow, that so many, you know, famous people have come to see the show and loved it, and you know, you value their thoughts and their opinions on stuff. But I guess because I was a producer, director in it, you know what I mean, everything, you're just so bound up with making sure everything's amazing. I mean, the first night in the West End, I'm hardly in any of those videos because I was so busy running around making sure everything was happening. But I never got to be properly interviewed or see people. You know, it was crazy.
It's like doing this because when we did the first one of these, and you know, like with TV, you've all done it. But you know, when you've been to a TV studio, I'm controlling all the things and I'm doing all this. Your brain space. Like you're suggesting, your brain space is so like, I've got to think about this, I've got to think about that, I've got to think of. You just cannot, can't take it all in, and I think that's why is it when they say wedding days, because when you get married, that's the best bit of advice you can give to someone. Remember, just watch. Don't worry about everything. Just watch everything because
but as if you have to though, you still do. But I mean, for me, what is so wonderful is the people that have seen it and have come back. There's people who've seen it 12 times, 15 times more, 20 times people come back. But also what's wonderful is that when you get the kids come in, like Molly being part of it, Molly Marriott and Tonya Marriott, who lives in Canada, Steve's other daughter, and the Luke Lane and Ruben Lane and Ilana, you know, the kids and Lee McLagan, you know, and the kids come
That's
of the famous people, and to me, that really meant something. And Sandy Sargent, you know, who was married to him, came and loves it, and she's a friend now, and PPR has been part of it since the beginning.
But that's good. There's just I don't want to cut you off. I just do need to. Can you see 5 of us on your one, Carol?
I can just see you.
Ah, right, because you can't see Gemma because Gemma's just joined us, and Gemma's the lady who.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Are you able to press the thing so you can see all of us? Or when you say me, you can only literally see me.
Only literally you, Andrew. Yeah.
God, you don't want that.
If I press the button, it might all go.
You won't. Luke, are you on an iPad, Carol?
Yeah.
Swipe.
Just swipe it.
Swipe. I can't remember which way. Swipe one of the ways and you'll get everybody. Possibly left. Swipe left.
Maybe it's an iPad, I wonder.
I can see you now. I can see Elliot now.
Can you see?
I'm getting one person at a time, I think.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So.
I've told Lee to come in as well, but I don't know if he's doing it.
I might have to try and call my lovely assistant husband in a minute because he's more technical than me.
I thought he was busy on Twitch watching some computer games.
I think he's moved on now, actually, to watch something else. Boarding me up.
Sorry, I can't help it. We are meant to be in a pub,
yeah,
you know.
We were saying that we could, if we swipe, I could see other people, but I don't know. Ah, there we are.
I love the way you just come. Job done.
Can you see?
It's like magic, isn't it? You press a button and it all happens.
Yeah, but I press a button, it goes off. So
don't press that big button.
Hello, Gemma. Elliot.
Hello, Carol.
Hi, guys. How are we doing? All cool, yeah.
We're all down the pub now. Here we are.
Down the pub. Grab yourselves a drink. Elliot, what time is it there?
It is 6 minutes past 2 p.m.
So it's not. Is it a bit too early for a beer for you then? Is it? Because we've all been drinking all night.
No, it's not too early.
haven't.
It's 6 o'clock somewhere, Elliot.
I'm in LA. We can walk into a store and buy marijuana. You know, it's incredible. You know,
it's incredible.
It's 2 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And are you far from town, Elliot? I mean, is it a taxi ride for you? Is it?
I'm about 20 miles from the Sunset Strip. Right there. I'm in the San Fernando Valley, over the mountains, over the hill. If you know the layout at all, I'm sort of one exit south of where you get off the Malibu.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Yeah. And because one thing I was thinking about you was your house earlier, because he did show us that swimming pool again, Gemma, that we were very envious of.
Andy, I was sorry that I'm late, everybody. I've been having a business meeting with a company in France who actually want to start shows again.
Right.
So which is wow. It's just trying to get the rules to get people over there, really. But whilst I've been talking, I've had it like on my phone watching you, but I haven't had the sound on, so I've seen like images, but I haven't actually heard anything.
Do explain to us, because it's probably important to Carol. So what's occurring? How are you able to perform? What things they're putting in place?
Well, France are a little bit ahead of us with their the easing of the lockdown process. So all of their holiday villages are now opening. And they've decided that they're going to try and do some kind of entertainment if possible. So it will be, I mean, it's just talking about it now sounds a little bit random, but it's going to be kind of social distance shows. So for me, that's completely wow, because there's no partner work, there's no there's no holding hands. So for a choreographer, it's going to be pretty difficult to try and work that one out. And depending on the size stage, it depends on how many people you can have. And And then costumes have got to be washed every night and ready for the next day, and and props, antibacterial
How are you going to do that? I
everything.
mean, if they touch something on the stage, is somebody going to have to come wipe that down every time they play or something?
Somebody, it'll be them. Yeah. They'll do the show, and then it'll be like a 3-hour cleaning process after. So, but it's more of the actually getting them there, and there's not a lot of travel at the moment. There's not a lot of options there. If there are, it's quite expensive, and and then are they going to get insured? Are they, it's there's a lot of things to explore.
but the small thinkers are putting on a gig in Denmark Street apparently. I don't know if Carol knows this, but I don't know how they're socially distancing. Then they're going to broadcast that live apparently.
When are they doing that?
It said Denmark Road or Denmark Street or.
No, when do you?
When
are they?
It's only 2 or 3 weeks away. I mean, it's a pay-per-view thing.
Yeah. Okay, we had to cancel a gig at the Half Moon in Putney. Do you know the Half Moon, Elliot, in Putney? It's a very well-known rock and roll gig.
My legend, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we played there a couple of times, and they asked us back again, and we love it obviously, and it's legendary. And we had a gig booked for May, which we had to cancel obviously. And they've said, oh, well, we don't want to lose you. Can we book something else in? And we decided between us to try for July. And we said, shall we try and be optimistic and say this might be the moment that everybody gets unlocked? And so we're ever hopeful, but obviously that'll be a lot of logistics. If it does even happen, with the sort of social distancing and stuff, and people on stage, it's a really tiny stage as well, with dancers and a live band.
That's it. Yeah, I think what they're saying is like obviously the people are going to come on holiday in their family groups anyway, and then what they'll have is like a socially distanced table away from the other family groups, so that they can watch the show where obviously the performers will be social distance as well. But it's just, in my head, it's really hard to imagine it. And I'm like,
imagine, Elliot, could you imagine being in a band and not kind of, you don't, you have your little space, but you kind of do that thing where you just kind of get close and you do what could you imagine not being able to cycle up to someone while you're playing, Elliot? Could you imagine that, or?
Well, it's hard to imagine, but we might be forced to imagine at some point. You know what they're starting to do over here? I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
What they're starting to do here, drive-in movies were popular in England, right? Drive-in movie theaters.
No,
and so
I mean, when I went to the States, that was the first thing I wanted to do, was go to a drive-in.
Okay, so
in the 70s, I went to the States in the 70s, and that was the first thing I wanted to do, go to a drive-in.
Right, so back then, they had this sort of little box of speakers hanging on your window to hear the movie. Later on, they got more advanced to where you would tune into a frequency at the very bottom of the FM dial, and it would come through your car stereo in glorious stereo. And they're starting to do that like in live performance here, like this drive-in theater set up with big screens, and you tune in on your dial, and the audio comes in, and you can see the act on the screen, and everyone's sitting in their car, and no one's near anybody. But the whole live work thing has just gone away. It's been horrible. I mean,
well, I suppose it's a bit like being at in Manchester Arena in a really bad seat, because you're a really long way away from them.
Yeah, you can go and watch it for free, but you're up there.
Well, I mean, this is how I make my living, and the whole, live performance and music event is just dead. I had a great tour I signed on for this summer with Todd Rundgren, Denny Lane, and Joey Moon from Badfinger. We're going to perform the entire Abbey Road album for the anniversary. we're so looking forward to that. And other people too were playing with this great band, and just gone, gone. My summer gone.
That would have been. I've got Todd. Is it Todd Ron? Is Todd Rundgren? I See the Light, Elliot. It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I said it right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a brilliant.
I said-
That symbol in that way. I don't know how they've recorded that symbol all the way through, and that it's just got that lovely ding.
Well, yeah, big ride cymbal, splashy.
Yeah,
Very compressed.
And when he comes off it,
yeah.
the record just goes and then it goes back.
That's very typical of a lot of like the singles from the '60s. There's so much compression on it that when like the drummer would do a fill, you'd hear, and then when he'd stop, the whole music would come back up really loud, and you'd hear the band again. Because of the way composers work. It's really a funny thing. Because they compress the hell out of it so it would stay the same level on radio, wouldn't get louder or softer.
Todd also produced the first Meatloaf album, which doesn't go down well with the mod contingent.
I love Meatloaf.
So do I.
Yeah, I like Rocky Horror.
I love Meatloaf too. I like him a lot too. Yeah.
I love Bat Out of Hell. Carol, did you see Bat Out of Hell musical when it was on?
I did actually. And my lead, who played Steve Marriott,
yeah,
he went into Bat Out of Hell.
Oh,
he
did
was,
he?
He was cast in that, and that was toured the States. It was going to the States and Australia world tour, and that's been pulled. It's been cancelled.
Yeah, I know. Well, the Bat musical was touring here as well, wasn't it? They were going to do Manchester, Liverpool, and somewhere else later on in the year. But that's not yet been cancelled because I think it was going to start in October. But I'm guessing they will because obviously they won't be.
I think that's the same tour, but they were starting in the States and then going to Australia, and then it was going to go around England.
Come back,
because he still does some stuff for me, and he was able to do part of our tour before he went and toured around.
You're going to say?
I was just going to say, watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's the same music.
Yeah.
Luke's not going to have that. Luke is just not going to have that. He's just like, you're a committed Meatloaf fan, aren't you, mate?
No, I'm not a committed Meatloaf fan. I'm a committed Bat Out of Hell fan.
Right. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of rubbish that he released, but I won't have that the Bat Out of Hell album isn't brilliant.
No, it's amazing.
Like,
It's very theatrical. It's very theatrical. I like a bit of theatre, I like a bit of camping, but it's very different to All or Nothing, which I was saying, which is very raw, and we didn't want any that sort of theatricality, but except making people laugh, cry.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I'd much rather listen to Small Faces, but I do love Bat Out of Hell.
I like the fact Elliot's looking for his Meatloaf book. Look.
It's Ali. Can't stand him, but like.
But I've got the book. Carol, I didn't hear the interview earlier, but I mean, they've probably done these questions, and I'm just repeating myself. But just quickly, was it really hard to cast for your musical?
Yeah, that's what
everybody
saying,
now is trained so musically. Their voices are obviously very musical theatre when they come out of college.
That's what I'm
trying
to explain to. Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain earlier. Saying, they're very musical theatre. Very jazz. It's all jazz hands and all that singing out and stuff.
What is what is Elliot finding? Sorry, I am listening.
That's his entire shelf dedicated to Meatloaf. That's Elliot's Meatloaf shrine. He's showing us there.
He's desperately trying to find something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Marriott book.
Are you trying to find the Steve Marriott book?
I found it.
I can't see that. I don't know what one it is. I could see.
He won't take it off the shelf because they're in perfect order.
I tell you what, Elliot, I'll send you a DVD of the show. Yeah.
Oh God, I'd love
Don't
that.
say that
Carol.
too loud though, because we had a question earlier about are you going to release it on DVD, and you said no.
So you're going to have a bootleg. So you better be.
No, it's going to get
careful on that
intercepted.
You get one from the producer and writer, but I can give them to special people.
Yeah.
They're very theatrical, you know, when they come out of drama school doing musical theatre.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have that same problem though, Carol, because like I make shows for different holiday companies, and it's so difficult casting people and trying to get them to do what you want them to do sometimes. And you're singing Meatloaf, for example, but you're singing it in a musical theatre choir voice.
It's not a musical theatre. No.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, that we did a show called Legends of Music. And it's basically just lots of different legends, French ones and English ones, because I work a lot in France. And basically, it was like somebody, for example, Michael Jackson, and you're asking them to sing a Michael Jackson song, and they're singing. Like, I can't even do it myself. But
Is it like this then? I'll do it because I don't mind making a tit of myself. It's like beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it. Is it like that?
A little bit like that, yeah. Well, like, cause this is Thriller.
Andy, you've got the part.
Like that, and you're like, no. And then bless them, and then you're like, just relax a little bit, and like try and get the pop style coming out as well.
Say again, Elliot. You go, because your mic doesn't cope.
No, I know it's hard, connecting and making these little comments, but it just made me laugh because that's whenever you try to sort of correct the grammar or diction in a rock and roll song, it's like you end up with "you're nothing if not a hound dog."
Yeah.
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 It's true though, isn't it?
You should do a musical all like that. It's like, all in the style of theatre. Supposed to be rock and roll. So funny.
She's hanging. I remember writing a song, and a friend of mine she was doing A-level English, and she corrected me, and she said, "Andrew, you can't have that because that's a double something or other." And I said, "Yeah, but it fits really well in the song." "Oh, I don't know, Luke. You know me. Your mum pulls me up about it."
Oh, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about things like that in lyrics.
Oh God. Yeah. But if you knew somebody who's like, "No, Andrew, that's it's like when I ain't done nothing."
I did an English language A level, but I don't worry about things like that in the lyrics.
You guys. That when Paul McCartney first played "She Loves You" for his dad Jim, he said, "Son, you shouldn't. She loves you. Yes, yes, yes." He goes, "That's bad." And his dad, you don't understand, Dad.
But that's the difference, isn't it? That's a generational thing, isn't it? Do you know? I tell you, there's a lovely story. That I've forgotten Steve's mum, Marriott's mum's name. I've forgotten.
Okay.
That's it. And she was on a lovely documentary in the 90s on Without Walls, and she was saying one of the lovely things about the small faces. She said they wore the beautifulest, brightest clothes, and she said you're seeing your son looking absolutely amazing, like wearing like a yellow and white jeans, and stuff like that. And she said, as a mother, that was beautiful to see.
They look lovely. Yeah, they look lovely.
Yeah. And that. But Elliot, is that, you see, in England, because it's so cold, we're quite used to wearing, dark clothes. Do you think you had the advantage with the psychedelic bands because you could wear the bright clothes, you could wear the, do you understand what I'm saying? Does that feel natural to you?
I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah, of course. I mean, like for instance, Los Angeles is very, very casual. And it's sort of hard to dress up. I mean, in New York, London, if you're going to go out to dinner or a club, you'll dress or put out a jacket if you're a man or something like. LA, you can go into the best restaurant in, flip flops and shorts and a t-shirt, and it could be a billionaire sitting there, in shorts and flip flops, and people don't dress, and it bums me out a little bit because I love clothes and I like to dress.
I love dressing up too. I'm a real dresser upper. Yeah, I know.
We talked about this the other day. Me and Andy did, about how in England, Elliot, like younger people now don't dress up. So they go for a night out and they would be in the same clothes that they would be just to muck about in the daytime. So they'll go out to a nightclub just in an old t-shirt, jeans, and their trainers, or sneakers, should I say? And that always confuses me. Even not.
I don't get that.
Not growing up with it, but even I, if I want it, I'll put one of my nice tops that I've embezzled from modshoes.co.uk, onto do these streams. It's so that I think I perhaps was the last generation of people that bothered. If you know what I mean, wanting to put some nice clothes on to do things.
I think it's like modest, like an attitude, though. I think because my son dresses up as well. He always is suited and, as we say.
Terry, you're gonna have to put a light on.
It's Terry.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to tell him.
Hang on.
It's funny because I moved from London to Brighton, and as I say, I like to dress up. Any excuse to dress up. But here, when I first moved here, I couldn't get used to it, because we'd just go out for a meal and I'd get changed. They go, "Oh, don't just come as you are." I go, "No."
Yeah.
No.
I'm the same.
Even here, because it's by the sea and it's more chilled, and everything. And people didn't dress up here either. But I used to tell my cast off, especially my lovely actor Chrissy, who's wonderful, played Steve Marriott. And he'd come in and he'd have bloody lycras on because he'd been on a bike. And I go, and then he'd go out in between and he'd go and put his thing. I go, "You're not going to put them on, are you?" He go, "Yeah." I go, "Well, no, you're not. No, you're not. I've made you into a mod. Just be a mod to keep up." Bless him.
In LA, as a guy, it'd be wonderful to see all these yoga pants all day long on women. But quite honestly, I didn't wear that in public. LA, where people just walk around in like call lycra, yoga pads and things that leave absolutely the imagination. Probably, half of 1% of the population should be seen in public wearing them.
Hold on, I do need to tune into Terry. Hold on to everyone. Terry, I can see you, Terry, but you're very dark.
Put your light on.
Have you got? Find him a light. That's a bit better. Have you got anything you can put in front of your face, Terry? You look very yellow.
Like a mask.
You look like a mask. You're very quiet as well. Let's see if we can get your volume up a bit, mate. We want to hear you. Elliot.
Listen, guys, Terry's only just come on, but I'm going to have to go soon because I've got a phone call to make. So, and it's 10:30. So
yeah. We
I know I'm going to have to go.
It's already past my bedtime, Carol.
You can take.
We can see you.
Elliot. You can take me. You've got the blonde hair. It's fine.
Elliot.
Because of me, Carol, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go in a minute. Oh well, I'll stay 5 minutes more.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, I'll stay 5 minutes
Brighton
more.
for you.
Come on, then. I've got 5 more minutes.
Elliot, there was a question on the Facebook from somebody, from Yvonne, saying, "Is that a nagel on the wall?" But as I read it a bit quickly, I read it as, "Is there a bagel on the wall?"
Bagel?
Is it?
I've had lunch, no. Oh, is there a bagel on the wall?
That's how I read it. Apparently it's Nagel, but do you like bagels, Elliot?
Oh, no, Joe, do we have a nagel on the wall?
Is that a song by Suzanne Vega?
My brother is a fine artist. We have a lot of her brothers are.
Oh, very nice. What's that? That's beautiful. Look at that.
It's involved with gloves.
That's nice.
There's gloves. Oh
Yeah. Are you taking?
Glove.
He's bound to have loads of art, isn't he? Look. Where's he going now?
Sort of like a Rousseau kind of thing.
Oh my God, that one's scary, Elliot.
yeah. I was gonna say
He's into doll parts.
He's got art. He's got some other. What's that behind you there, Elliot? You've got two ladies on the wall.
To your right. To your right on the wall. Over here, these two.
Well, you know what? Those are by David Anderley from A&M Records, who was my wife's boss, who also has that famous painting he did of Brian Wilson that freaked me out with the numerology thing. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know the particular picture, but I know Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't know personally, but
David Anderley was one of the guys who put together the Monterey Pop Festival, and he was like a VP. Very cool guy.
So he's done some things in his life, then, Elliot. He's a connected man.
Some things, yeah.
He's one of Brian Wilson's crowd when they were all sitting in the sandbox, in
Yeah.
I know the one you're on about now. So Terry, Elliot, Terry, you're on your boat?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, and Terry is apparently meant to be moored in 2 different places at the moment because you've got a bus rudder, haven't you?
It got fixed today.
That sounds painful, Terry.
You it got fixed just now by some salty old dog who's just fixed it with a great big wrench and a chain and everything, and it's all been sorted, so it can actually move again.
So you
cool.
Chain.
So where are you now?
For you, Carol.
What's that?
It's in Cambridgeshire.
Oh, you're in Cambridgeshire.
Nowhere near Bermondsey. Yeah, I'm nowhere near Bermondsey.
Right, good job. I'd probably be the best thing. Hello.
No, it ain't. I'm a Bermondsey boy.
Yeah, that's the side of the river. We don't talk about that.
No.
Shut up. Yeah, shut your noise.
Bags.
Yeah, that is Elliot. Bit of London rivalry. One side of the river and the other.
Keep it real.
Elliot, in England, I used to work for a guy from East London, and we went over a bridge in London once. And as we went over the bridge and over the water, over the Thames, and into South London, he locked all of the car doors. And I said, "Well, what's the matter?" He went, "We're in South London now. It's dodgy." Because he was from the East End, the North East End, you know what I mean? And he was like, "Oh no, I don't trust these Southerners." I'm waiting for Terry to come back on that one.
Well, he obviously didn't live in Hackney then.
I made a record in Willesden. The batteries.
Over here.
So
what have I missed then? What have I missed? I've only just tuned in. What have I missed?
Well,
everything.
Oh God, we're not rewinding that, Terry.
Where's that pub?
You have to watch it back, Terry.
Where's that pub you're in?
Where's what? Sorry.
Where's that pub you're in?
That pub.
We're in the mod called the Mod Arms.
We're in the Mod Arms. Look. There's the pub. Look, there's my pub. He's actually Terry is actually distraught that we might actually be in a pub. He is actually thinking we might be in a pub, and he's actually distraught about the idea that I might be in a pub. Let me show you something, Terry.
Where's that pub?
Let me show you. Look.
She's in a pub.
Oh look, my pub has gone away. Look.
No, it's Terry. It's all an illusion. Mine is too. It's a curtain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mine's a house in California. I could blow it away.
illusion. It's like set looks like a house in Brighton. But
it's not.
So where do you live in?
It wasn't really. You see, it wasn't really a swimming pool we had. It was just a curtain, wasn't it?
Because what you've missed, Terry, is Elliot has shown us his swimming pool, which is particularly beautiful, and how he had that top done up when he started the interview, but it's obviously very hot there. And
Elliot lives next door to the monkeys on one side, and the other side is Charlie Sheen.
Really?
Mickey Dolenz was.
Yeah, he lives next door to the monkeys.
Mickey Dolenz, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
They all live down
You
there.
know,
Nothing's changed. It's 67.
So Terry and Elliot know each other, yeah?
Me and Terry?
Do you know each other already, Terry?
Don't you live? Tell them there you live next door to the monkeys.
Terry.
Terry, yes. To answer your question, they do both know each other, and that's how. When I got the phone call I got was because Terry gave Elliot my phone. Elliot, yes, that's right, my phone number.
We've got shoe fetish.
Yeah, and to this day, it was. I swear blind. It's because Terry Rawlings was like, he ain't got them bloody shoes done. I know he ain't got them bloody shoes. I know he's not listening to me. Why don't you ring him up and tell him to get them bloody shoes done? So I reckon you made him phone though and ask about those shoes.
You know what happened, Andrew? It was Delicious Junction that I blame because they had the Terry Rawlings that was the corded suede.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, we don't talk about them anymore. We've moved. We've moved shoes now. They have nothing to do with the old school.
No, but I think that's connected and made friends, isn't it?
Yeah. And is that how you found out about Terry's name and stuff, and then you heard about the Brian Jones book?
No, I had Terry mods also way before that, and knew Terry's writing, and thought it. I thought it was cool that they were doing, sort of these collaborations, and so I could tell that we were of like minds just by looking at the shoes, and we became friendly.
Don't forget, Elliot. Don't forget our Power Pop compilation this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this pair, they're over there on my screen. So they've both got a Power Pop compilation coming out. And one of them's chose, I think, 1 or 2 CDs, and the other one's 2 CDs. And they're presently quibbling over what track listing the two should have. And I think there's a certain amount of mine's better than yours, going on. And I think the pair of them, are you doing mainly American stuff, Elliot? Or are you doing UK, or is it either?
Yeah, you can only do American.
Oh, you're doing UK and he's doing American, yeah?
Yeah, I'm bringing in the Dwight Twilley. I said I'm bringing in the Dwight Twilley and the Big Star, and bringing in the British stuff.
Okay, so Terry, what are you doing on it? Tell us a bit about that.
Sorry, just before Terry does, I'm sorry to be
putting all my mates on it.
Sorry to be unprofessional here, but I'm going to have to split because my young lad has just woken up and I'm going to have to put him back to bed.
Oh, right.
And that is the problem with lockdown live streaming. So,
Luke, say goodbye, Luke. And then
I'm saying goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for a lovely evening and thank you for a lovely chat. Nice to meet you, Carol.
Right, last orders. Ding.
Last orders. Speak to you again, Elliot. Bye,
I just think it's one.
Bye. Bye.
Right, let's let Elliot talk because his microphone doesn't cut in as well as ours. Go for it, Elliot.
How delightful it is that 6 lunatics like this could find each other in the world and have all this stuff.
It's him. It's that bloody Terry Rawlings. He goes around the world finding other lunatics.
Brilliant. Loved it. Yeah.
It's true, though.
But, yeah. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to have to go now because I've got a phone call to make as well.
We were meant to be on till 9 till 10 with the in bit, and we're now it's
Yeah.
20 to 11. So, Karen,
Brilliant.
been
I
lovely.
loved it. The most wonderful time. We've got to do it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carol, lovely to meet you.
I'll see you soon, Terry. I hope. Hope to see you soon. Come to the Half Moon if it's on July.
All right.
Yeah,
What's on?
the Putney. We're doing All or Nothing band. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay, cool.
So yeah, I'll let you know. I'll bell you.
Thanks, mate. Cool.
All right.
Keep well.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you.
Carol, nice to meet you.
Lovely,
Thank
lovely
you.
to talk.
Lovely,
And
lovely.
have a good time. Stay safe.
You too.
Love.
Thank you.
Bye bye. And then there was 4. Is she? Hold on. Let me turn her because her husband will have to do it for her, and she's going to leave her iPad on, isn't she? Bless her. Oh, what a fab evening! I'm absolutely shattered now. But this has been a fab evening. It's only 2 o'clock where you are, though, Elliot. So you know, and he is.
He doesn't sleep.
Say again, Terry.
He doesn't sleep.
This is true.
Elliot does
go
not
to bed
sleep.
And he's texting. I wake up and he's still texting.
Yeah, I have a bit of insomnia. I woke up at 4, I got up at 4 in the morning today, and so I'm just like, yeah, I don't know why. I just slept 2 hours and popped up, so just a little shattered.
Jesus, 2 hours. I'm a 7. I need that. Yeah, 7 or 8 hours. I'm a 7 or 8 hours. What you're not? What about you, Terry? You sleep well?
No, shocking.
Really?
No, that's me and Elliot wouldn't know each other if we slept.
That's right.
No, we just don't sleep. Just
right.
wake up. Hey, how you doing? All right, you still awake? Yeah, fine.
All right, good night, good morning, hello, goodbye.
But that's the truth, isn't it? You know, I think some people do. Some people say of me, because I'm quite manic, they think that I'd never sleep, but I do. I sleep really, really well.
I wish I did. I'm like Elliot. I have a lot of insomnia.
Do you?
Yeah, and I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning as well. It must have been the right time to wake up today. I woke up at 4, got up because I couldn't go back to sleep, went for a long walk at like 6:30. And then started work at 8:30 and finished just before I joined you. So yeah.
I've got some things to learn then, really, ain't I? Do you know what I mean?
No, I'd rather sleep, Andy. I miss sleep.
Well, I've always slept well. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. Except when I used to go to model nights, but let's not get into why I didn't sleep at model nights. So that's a whole nother story.
You've got a clear conscience. You got a clear conscience.
Well,
Yeah.
My wife says I haven't, but there you go. So are you going to tell us about this compilation? Who's leading this? Are you leading this compilation, Terry?
I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah, so this power pop compilation you're doing, are you?
Yeah. It's supposed to come out on Demon, and they're now wanting us to find alternative versions of popular power pop songs that there's none of the knack on it or none of that stuff.
Okay.
So coming up with that sort of thing. It's been going on for about 1.5 years now. So, but we hope to get it out this year.
Okay. And
we've got to write sleeve notes and stuff. But it'd be the best box set out there. Okay. In my humble opinion. And in Elliot's humble opinion too.
Yeah, till the next one.
No.
But yeah.
I'm only doing the one.
So Elliot, have you been choosing the American stuff then?
Well, we've been kicking it around. I've been, sending lists.
He's chosen them.
What's that? I'm sorry?
He said you've been choosing some of the American stuff.
It keeps.
Well, I have.
Can I get some ice?
Yeah, but we just email back and forth.
I think we need to do this album now.
I think their internet connections is a bit shocking at the boat. Terry looks like Terry's back. Right. So, sorry, Elliot. You say you were telling us about your input in this power pop.
Oh, well, it's just we just kind of emailing lists back and forth of suggestions, and I might suggest a oh, well, what about this version of Hanging on a Telephone by the Nerves, or that kind of stuff. Like this is a cool version of the song, or whatever it may be. We talk about it and kick it around.
I've got who's the punk band I've got who do The Shape of Things to Come?
Oh, yeah.
I've got
Nerves, make a note of that.
Now you've got me thinking.
Nerves. Hanging on a telephone, the Nerves.
Do you know the Shape of Things to Come? Who did that?
You mean a song from Wild in the Streets?
Yes, because Slade covered it, but some punk band covered it, or some power pop band covered it. Oh, I have. Sorry, we're getting very, very. Sorry, Gemma.
No, it's fine, Andy. I was just looking at my list of what I've got to do before tomorrow morning.
Well, if you're not sleeping, you three will be sat up chatting all night, and you'll be lying.
I don't know. I am. I'm gonna have to bail on you in a minute because I've got to get a show plan ready before 9 o'clock in the morning. So
let me just go to Gemma for a second, guys. So just because it's important about like what's going on. So you're being in France. They've got a situation where they're going to have live shows again. Yes, you've got to be socially distanced, but there'll be a situation where people will be able to watch a show in a holiday village, and there'll be will they be waitress service or will they be okay? So
yeah.
So if they think that's going to happen, that's France. So so that's good for our friend Elliot, because that means he might get to do his Abbey Road tribute or
I don't know whether it's just been allowed in some venues, and I know that at the moment France has this traffic light system, so if you're in a green area that means that the COVID-19 is very, very low, so you're allowed to be a bit more free. If you're in orange, then it's a bit more strict, and if you're in red, you're not allowed out still.
Now, this is where our friend Elliot is going to get very political about it. He's about his president or some of the governors. They're trying to do that there, aren't they?
I wouldn't waste my breath getting political about this issue. I mean, I think it's just ridiculous to even into it. The way these people are politicizing a disease, it's insane.
Yeah, it is. But the problem they've got though, Elliot, is if you're Greece, and let's not get too political, but if you're Greece, Greece has 10 million people live there and 30 million visitors every year, so they can't afford not to. And I've been talking to some guys who've got factories in not third world countries, but not lesser countries, and the practical realities is they'll say, look, if we don't make stuff and generate stuff and generate income, we won't eat and we'll die anyway. And I don't want to be too depressing. That's the in America, you're like us. We're not so poor we can't eat. Most people, and when I say most people, I mean you've got your homeless, we've got our homeless, but most people can. You can find somebody who'll give you something to eat. They're different problems, aren't they?
Mm.
They are, but I mean, we all have friends with small businesses that are going down the tubes, and it's hard. It's just awful. Everybody's got a different perspective on it, I suppose, and different people in different situations.
But the people behind us, Elliot, the people behind us have been called time. Our building backs onto another building, and they've been called, and they've just told, no, that's it, no more. The banker said, pulled the business, and that's like 400 people unemployed.
Yeah,
and you think,
awful.
Jesus, do you know what I mean? Anyway, let's get on to power pop music.
And I'm going to go before I'm rude, Andy. I'm going to bail. I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm going to do a quick thing and make sure that if anybody's even watching us, because I might turn us off. Just let us three chat.
Yeah. Oh, and Elliot, I don't know if Andy's shown it, but I sung Dusty for you.
Oh no, we didn't get chance.
Just send it to Elliot for himself, and I'm gonna do I'm gonna do the other one that you sent me as well as soon as I've got time. The
Oh,
Doom
maybe by the shells.
Yeah, I love it.
That.
Yeah, I love
that.
it.
That's great to hear the dusty. Are you going to wear your dusty shoes?
Yeah.
Right, I'm just trying to see if anybody's even watching us now. So I'm going to turn this off because us three need to probably just have a chat.
Okay.
Apparently, there's 8 people watching us, so it's probably time to turn off.
I'm going to say good night then.
I think it's probably
Night,
time to
Terry.
turn off.
Night, Elliot. See you soon. Bye, Andy.
So,
I bet if 3 of them